All right, good evening and welcome to the 32nd meeting of the 13th elected town council of the town of Happy Valley, Goose Bay. I have two proclamations here that I'm going to do. The first one is Purple Day 2023 for epilepsy, and the second one will be a World Lymphedema Day. So, Purple Day for Epilepsy, March 26th. Whereas Purple Day is a global effort to promote epilepsy awareness in countries around the world. Whereas Purple Day was founded by 9-year-old Cassidy Megan of Nova Scotia, who wanted to let people know that if you have epilepsy, you're not alone. And whereas epilepsy is a chronic neurological disorder which affects each person differently, estimated to affect more than 10,000 people in Newfoundland and Labrador, over 300,000 people in Canada, and 50 million people worldwide. And whereas 1 in 10 persons will have at least one seizure during their lifetime, whereas the public is often unable to recognize common seizure types and unable to respond with appropriate first aid. And whereas Purple Day will be celebrated on March 26th annually to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and improve the quality of life for people living with epilepsy throughout the country and globally. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, George Andrews, Mayor of Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Newfoundland and Labrador, do hereby proclaim March 26th as Purple Day in an effort to raise awareness and understanding of epilepsy and to support all those who live with seizures each day. So I'll date and sign that. All right, our second proclamation for World Lymphedema Day, March the 6th, 2023. Whereas lymphedema is a chronic and debilitating disease characterized by an accumulation of lymphatic fluid and causes swelling of the arms, legs, or other areas of the body, which can cause disfigurement, disabilities, discomfort, pain and distress, and impair quality of life. Whereas patients with lymphedema may struggle with pain and swelling, may have recurring severe infections caused by lymphedema, and may experience financial and then physiological strains due to difficulties of managing their disease. Whereas, while there are cases of primary lymphedema which are inherited, most cases are secondary that developed as a result of trauma, infection, surgery, radiation therapy, or removal of lymph nodes, including cancer treatment. Whereas gaps in research, education, and effective treatments exist, and more knowledge about lymphedema is needed to achieve timely diagnosis, management, and care, and to develop more effective treatments. Whereas lymphedema is estimated to affect 2.8% of the population, or 14,800 people in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And whereas the Lymphedema Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is a registered charity dedicated to ensuring all lymphedema patients have access to information, support, treatment, and thereby promoting health and hopeful living to people with lymphedema. Whereas March 6th of each year is internationally recognized as World Lymphedema Day, and to raise awareness about this disease and the treatment options available. Therefore, I, George Andrews, Mayor of the town of Happy Valley, Goose Bay, do hereby proclaim March the 6th, 2023, to be observed as World Lymphedema Day in our town. All right, those over here. All right, so again, welcome to everyone. There is a couple of chairs down here. If someone wants to move them over to where you wish to seat, you're more than welcome to do that. All right, so we have our agenda ahead of us for the 32nd meeting. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Moved by Councillor Brumfield, seconded by Councillor Winters. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we've accepted our agenda. Delegations. I understand we have 4 delegations? 3 delegations? Okay. So just as a general preface for delegations, we'll offer you 10 minutes to present to... pardon me? Oh, you have it there? Okay, you want to go? All right. I'll pass the floor to the Chair of Finance and Admin, and she will read the policy for our delegations this evening. Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Your Worship. Policy number A0018, Public Council Meeting Delegations. Our policy statement says, in accordance with creating a friendly and approachable environment for delegates to meet with the Council, it is recommended that the public of Happy Valley Goose Bay 1. Notify the town manager or his designate of their intention at least 30 minutes before the meeting, providing the name and contact information, and make it known of the issue that they wish to convey so that the town manager, I guess our CAO, may present it to the attention of the mayor or council members before the council meeting begins. The mayor and council has the right to limit and discreet the number of delegates' presentation before each council meeting. At the time of notification, the delegate is given 10 minutes maximum to discuss their concerns or issues. After the presentation, the mayor and council members may ask questions or make comments on the information presented. In consideration for the length of council meetings, delegates may wish to bring forth their issues or concerns in a written request that includes the subject of the presentation, name and contact information for either the mayor, council member, or town manager to respond by a letter. This states the 12th. I read it as the 12th? Mm-hmm. The 12th Council encourages the public to meet with the mayor or council members to bring their concerns, issues, while at the same time, we ask that you be respectful when presenting your issues or concerns in a friendly tone and environment to converse on any of the town's topics of discussions or concerns. In witness whereof, this policy was sealed under the common seal of the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay by both Mayor John Hickey and Town Manager Wyman Jock, and this was in effect approved as of April 29th, 2013, and most recent revision was October 30th, 2017.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rumbold. So that's just for the three folks that will be presenting this evening. And do you have first delegation? Elaine Hinks. Yep, come up to the microphone. If you just state your name because it's being recorded. Thank you. Welcome to Council Chambers, Elaine.
Thank you,
Floor is yours.
Worship and Deputy Mayor, councillors. My name is Elaine Hinks, and I'm here on behalf of over 900 people.
Just one moment. Yeah, just one moment. Councillor Palmer.
Just to state that as per the Code of Conduct Act, and the fact that I'm an employee of the Nunatsiavut government, and the fact that NG currently operates the shelter, as per the Code of Conduct Act, I have to remove myself as a potential conflict of interest.
Okay. So can the record minutes reflect that Councillor Pomeroy has declared conflict, and with the new conflict of interest guidelines, he is permitted to sit in the public session, just can't participate in any conversation.
Mayor,
Councillor,
as Councillor
yep.
Pomeroy stated, with the new code of conduct, I also have to declare a conflict of interest as I am the chair of the Housing and Homelessness Coalition, and I am a member of the action team. So
Okay.
I need to declare
Sure.
a conflict as well.
All right, so can we have the minutes reflect that Councillor Compton Hobbs has declared conflict in this one as well, is permitted to sit in the... Councillor Rumbold.
Mayor, just as point of order, just to let Ms. Hinks know and those in attendance, because this has cut into her time, that we are restarting you at 10 minutes, so we're not taking any of your time for the removal of the councillors.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so...
Vote.
Yep. They've declared, so there's no vote. Okay. They haven't asked. Yeah. They haven't asked us to decide, so it's... All right, so welcome again, Elaine.
No problem.
The floor is yours, and you can start your presentation over again. I apologize.
Okay, I'm here, like I said, to present a petition on the proposed low-barrier homeless shelter that, like I said, is proposed to be built here in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Just want to note that there are 3 sections to this petition. One is a digital format and contains over 800 signatures, and the other 2 are handwritten formats. So they have over 100 signatures. So basically what this petition is in a nutshell is what the key points that people who have signed the petition are looking for is a treatment center that is private and surrounded by wilderness in Labrador, a place that offers peace, serenity, and hope, smaller emergency shelters in the communities that need them, permanent homes in communities for people who need them. Shelters won't solve a housing crisis, but safe and comfortable homes will. Post-treatment supports for recovering addicts, houses set up for sober and clean living, where people receive help and encouragement to stay on the right path. A focus on community policing to do proactive work and better serve all people. Emotional, psychological, and physical safety for all is key. No supports will work without a solid foundation. Culturally relevant, meaningful, and hands-on programs to help people feel motivated and good about themselves while giving back to their communities. Collaboration between all communities to do what's best and provide help to the most people, and $40 million can go a long way, which is the amount that is proposed to build the new shelter. So basically, say no to a large 70-bed, $40 million low-barrier shelter on Hamilton River Road in Happy Valley Goose Bay that is not a detox center or treatment facility. And that's quote from the Newfoundland and Labrador Housing Commission executives. Also, I'd like to point out that this position wasn't closed due to lack of a waning interest. We just wanted to get it to council as soon as possible. It can be reopened, and hard copies will be placed throughout the community, and maybe even a door-to-door campaign. So anyway, this is the petition that I am now presenting to you, council. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine, for your presentation. I'll ask you to, if you would present it with to our CAO. Thank you very much. Our second delegation. Stephanie Normore.
Hello, how are you?
Good day and welcome
Good.
to council. I'm just going to wait for my two colleagues here to sit back down.
Your worship, before we begin, if this is related again, do we have to remove ourselves each time?
It would be, yes, because we don't know exactly what the conversation. If it goes back to the issue where you declare conflict, yes, you would have to.
We'll have to wait and see.
Well, that's absolutely.
Surprise!
Yeah, which is like I say, a part of the policy is that we ask you to identify what you're going to speak about, and it enables us to first off gather any background information we do, but also enables councillors to be able to understand where their position is in terms of being in conflict. So, anyway, welcome to council chambers. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I just came today to ask what the status of the municipal enforcement officer's position is, and I also came today to ask what is the town's plan for 2023 and the upcoming spring and summer season, because as all of you here know, because I've presented here before, we can't have another summer and spring like we had last year, dealing with the issues that we dealt with in terms of lawlessness, and that's the issues that I'm going to talk about, is the things that occurred in the businesses that I'm responsible for, as well as me as a citizen. So, as I said, my question to council is, what's the status of the municipal enforcement officer? When can we expect to have someone hired? And what is your plan for safety and security of this community for 2023?
All right, so as we don't get into a physical back and forth debate,
Yep.
I would be able to give you an update in terms of the municipal enforcement position. The council is meeting, what's the date of the meeting? Thursday, to actually finalize how we're going to proceed in that regard. So from that, you should, there'll be information that will come out how we're going to continue on. I will go back to the information that you asked about the plan. If I go back to some comments that were made by Minister Hogan in November, I think it was, that his comments were that we don't want to see another summer like we had, and we're going to hold them to that task. So from that,
Can I ask, how you're going to hold it to task?
Again, we won't get into just a delegation sort of debate or back and forth, but that information, because a crucial part of that is the municipal enforcement position and how we're going to move forward with that. And again, future discussions or further discussions with the province as to how we're going to work together to solve the issue or work towards the issue.
One last question. So there will be a plan, there will be some information that'll be, I guess, provided in a council meeting, or will it be provided to the public in terms of how you'll proceed, or?
I'm not sure, and just basically because, I mean, if it's a provincial side of things that comes out, it would come out through that avenue. But it'll definitely be here again. Hopefully we'll know before it hits the council table, so then, or council meeting sort of time frame, so we'd have some ability to be able to get that information out, know what's happening before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our third delegation?
Bill Dormady and Scott Budgell.
Bill Dormady and Scott Budgell, and he's waving at me. No. Okay. So, any further delegations? Is that it?
Okay.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right, you have in front, and I'll do the same things I did last time. You're more than welcome, everybody, to stay. Some people come for a particular issue. If you came for a particular issue and that's presented, then by all means you're more than welcome to carry on with your evening's duties. Thank you for the two folks for their delegations. It's always important, and it's good to see a full council chamber here this evening. All right, moving forward with our agenda. Move to adopt the previous minutes from the 24th of January's 31st meeting. May I have a motion? Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Wallace, seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we've adopted the minutes. Correspondence. I have to apologize because it doesn't come in the same format. There we go. So outgoing correspondence was a letter that we wrote to Minister John Abbott in relation to Canadian Mortgage and Housing Rapid Housing Initiative project. A letter to the CEO of Newfoundland Labrador Housing in relation to a purpose-built facility, and a congratulations and thank you letter to the Chamber, Julianne Giffen, and the Labrador North Chamber of Commerce in terms of the Northern Lights conference that they hosted or co-hosted in Ottawa. Incoming correspondence was a piece of correspondence from the Municipal Assessment Agency, and as well for a letter from Minister Crystalline Howell in reference to a special assistance grant and project information. Any further correspondence that should be there? No? We're good? Okay. All right. Let's move into our committee reports, and we'll start with community planning and development. And I will turn the chair over to Councillor Brookfield.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Community Planning and Development Committee held their meeting on Thursday, February the 16th at 4:30 in the Town Hall boardroom. In present was myself in the chair, Councillor Jackie Compton-Hobbs, Councillor Bert Pomeroy, Engineer Randy Dillon, Engineering Technician Mark Urquhart, and the Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. Regrets were from the CAO Nadine McCauley, and there were no delegates. The meeting was called to order at 4:42 p.m. We reviewed the previous minutes and action items with no errors or omissions were noted. The monthly reports were attached for review by councillors, and they will be included in the package. Basically, right now we're in the issue with dealing with Crown land applications up Churchill Falls Road, dealing with the future NEF contours and the Crown land applications. The CPD committee discussed this and referred this item for staff to do more research. The proposed standards operating procedure was attached, and the Crown lands to contact NAV Canada directly for concerns. we should wait until we get a response from Nav Canada before we do anything else on this issue up here, for the simple fact that a lot of people now are starting to move further up to Churchill Falls Road. I think we should wait till we get things straightened out with Nav Canada. And by people moving up there, I'm talking about people, not just cottages, but people building the homes to live up there as well. So I think we should do a bit more research before we do anything concrete with it. We had new business, which is really one is continuation of last month. We're dealing with Chris Cabot and Darren Hill, their Crown land application up Churchill Falls Road. There is 2 recommendations here, which I didn't think we agreed on, but they're here, so I'll bring them forward, but I'll also discuss what I have here. The Chris Cabot, the Crown land application, was deferred from before we even got on this council. It's on the Trans-Canada Highway, and the cottage is a permitted use in this area. We still have no response from Nav Canada, and his was a license to occupy and is zoned for that particular purpose. I'd asked for the whole application to be brought to the next committee meeting so we can discuss it further and review it further. Because like I said, this one has been outstanding even before we got on council, and I would like to see the full application before we go forward anywhere on this. Darren Hill is the same situation almost. Again, his is for to build a cottage up on the Trans-Labrador Highway, which is a permitted use. And again, there is recommendation. Again, it's not what I had thought we agreed on, but it's here. We have some discretionary land use applications. The first one is from Todd Winters for an infill residential lot, which is a discretionary use as per section 5.6.9 of the town development regulations. And basically an infill lot is a lot where there used to be a house on it and the land it was torn down and the basement that was there is now a hole, so it has to be filled in. And usually this will happen in areas of the town that are already occupied for use. So it was advertised for 7 days and there was no comments. And staff recommend council have no objection with this one here, and it's in the recommendation which will be read afterwards. The next one is a application for a home-based business on 3 Palliser by Chesley Cole. It's called Grow Your Own Voice. This business is already registered as a business with no fixed address. The applicant bought a new property on 3 Palliser and she wants to open it up as a home-based business out of that area. It was advertised for 7 days with no comments, and CPD committee agreed with staff recommendations, and that will be outlined in the recommendations we have here. The next one again is a home-based business, and again this one is a home-based business that's already been approved, but it's being relocated from 32 Edmonds Crescent to 25 Edmonds Crescent. So this applicant is actually doing it the right way. Once they move from their old location to the new, they had to reapply. And it was advertised for 7 days with no comments, and there is a recommendation on this one here as well. The next one is another one with a application for home-based business for a coffee roasting business located at 440E Northwest River Road and a zone cottage, and the discretionary home-based business is a permitted use under this zone. It was advertised for 7 days with no comments, and it complies with the town's development regulations. And there is a recommendation attached here, which will have more things attached as well. The next one is for a home-based business by Hardy Appleman at 113 Hamilton River Road, entitled Evergold Permanent Jewelry. The area is owned mixed land use and home-based business. It's permitted discretionary use. It was advertised for 7 days and no comments were received, and there is a recommendation attached for this one. The next one is again for a home-based business at 6D Measure by Monty Edwards. It's called Montrans Electrical and Construction. It's zoned residential mixed use, and proponent rents from this address and has the landlord's letter attached. So there's a recommendation for this one as well. The next one is Melissa Chack. Again, it's an application for home-based business, which is Remember Wind Photography, and it's zoned residential low density, and home-based business is a permitted use, which was advertised for 7 days and no comments. The final item we discussed the BGIS as a business in town, and we want to find out if it's registered with the town, so this is the first time it's coming to this committee, so we're sending a letter to them to request them to register with the town. The other item we have is we have a draft of the compliance letter policy, RE Real Property Report. We decided for this item to have more research done on it and more information to be brought forward to the committee. So our committee meeting was adjourned at 5:57 p.m. and our next meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, March 7th at 4:45 p.m. Okay, so that was it for this meeting, committee meeting here.
That's your committee reading? Okay. That's been moved by Councillor Brumfield that we accept the Community Planning and Development Committee report as presented. Seconded by?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion. We do have some recommendations coming too, right? Councillor Palmer.
I just want a clarification. When you mentioned the item C, Tom Winters, was it Tom Winters you said, or Todd Winters?
The which one?
Tom.
It was Tom that he
Yeah.
said? Okay, just wanted, I wasn't sure if you said Todd or Tom. So.
Yeah, myself too.
His head come up, yeah. Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? All right, we've accepted the report. Recommendations?
Again, like I issued there, stated in my thing, the committee, the staff did bring forward 2 recommendations, the first 2, which is A and B. And again, like I said, we deferred these items, so these recommendations should not be here. But I can read them out if you want and make a decision on them.
If you're making the recommendations, you're the chair of the committee, so if you make them, we'll deal with them one way or the other, but
Yeah,
are you saying that they should be tabled, or
yes.
general?
Point of
Councillor
order.
Palmer?
I guess the discussion from the committee level, Your Worship, there was a fair amount of discussion on this. We had asked staff to check into whether or not approval could be granted through NAV Canada to the actual applicant. And in this case, they have received written confirmation from NAV Canada that there is no issue with them allowing this to go ahead, and it was emailed out to the committee after the fact.
Okay, so we
So
have the
recommendation
information.
was there based
We
on
have the information back from
getting the
NAV Canada
information.
saying no issue.
Not from the applicants, right?
Okay, but if we were awaiting the information for the file, was it to us or was it to, you want to?
Must have been to him. 'Cause
I'll direct it to our Director of Engineering.
Excuse me, Mayor. Yes, the information came in after the fact. It did not come directly to us, and that's the part that we have to finalize our process on. Preferably that it will come to us directly rather than NAVCAN, who would then, we would defer to NAVCAN.
So is there a letter though from NAVCAN? That we've been presented a letter from NAVCAN to say that?
Yes, after subsequent to the meeting, there was
Okay.
a letter from NAVCAN saying that they did receive,
Okay,
they did provide approval.
and that they didn't have any issues with it,
okay.
basically, in a nutshell.
So are we comfortable with that then, as going forward, or did you want to defer it till next month, or?
My perspective, I would defer till next month to have it discussed further at the committee level to deal with not just these ones, because there's many up there, right, people who are applying. And we really do have to get straightened out what we want from them.
Yeah.
Right now, it was
But in
discussed.
just as a point though, these two particular ones were deferred until we received information back from NAV Canada for these two particular cases, right? What we're going to generally do in that area, we would have to wait and see. But for these particular two, if they've been deferred for the NEF noise restriction guidelines, and now we have that back from NAV Canada, what would be your recommendation? Do we proceed now, or we put it back to committee? No, I'm going to just ask a recommendation. Put you on the spot here.
Well, Mayor, the fact that we don't have the recommendation formally distributed to the committee, it might be better if we actually, had that in the package to the committee. So
Okay.
they have all the information. I think that's the issue
Yep.
with deferring to
But
NAV
it came
Canada.
subsequent.
Now let the whole
Listen, this came from a committee.
applications provided with
Not
it.
everything.
The only thing missing from the committee meeting was the confirmation that they received after. We got all that here now.
Okay.
No, not at the committee meeting, we didn't. We
No,
have it
got
here.
now in front of us.
Yes.
So you haven't discussed it at committee?
No, not
So-
the details of it.
Okay. So in terms of that, would it be prudent to put it back to committee to have that full discussion? I think that's what the director of engineering is saying. If I'm correct.
That's correct, Mayor.
Right. So based on his recommendation, how does council feel? What do we want to do?
I think if it comes to this stage and it's in recommendations, all the information here, these two people have been waiting over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
On
Yeah, well,
NAVCAN.
no, one has
Just-
been waiting
just-
2
yep.
years.
But the thing is that it didn't come to committee. That came in subsequent from committee.
And that's
So the
reason
committee
why
hasn't had a
I
chance to
want
discuss.
this full application, because I want to know how long it's been outstanding.
Yeah.
Applications are only good for 1 year.
I'm okay
Yep.
with moving
Sounds
forward
nice.
with it as a committee member of CPD because we got the information. Deferring is only gonna slow the process. I mean, we got all the information. There's nothing more we could say.
Well, yes, there is other issues that we discussed that dealing with that whole area. One of them was basically our.
Okay, I'm
procedures.
gonna stop it because that's a whole area different conversation. So okay, so I'm hearing from one side that we go with a recommendation from our engineer that we go back to committee with the full package. It'll only be 1 month. There's not much activity going to happen in this much snowfall. And the other side, I'm hearing vote. So do we want to put it to a vote, or what we would like to do? Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, if I could just add, the briefing note with all the background information and the letter from NAVCAM was actually sent to council on February the 7th.
Which was after the committee meeting or before the
It was
committee
the
meeting?
day after.
Right, so it was after the committee. So committee, for all intents and purposes, never had the full 17th.
7th and 6th.
Yeah. Never had, that's probably dated a letter, right?
But the discussion at the committee level was that we were waiting for this information, and that if the information came in, we would bring it to the council meeting
Okay.
to approve. But we can have the discussion,
And I apologize because I wasn't at that committee, so I can't offer any. All right, so I have the 3 committee members here. What do you want to do?
Mine is defer.
Okay, defer. What would you like to do?
I move forward with
Okay, I have 2 moving forward and 1 to put it to committee. So I think we'll proceed with, you can proceed with the recommendation.
Okay. Application number 158051, Chris Cabot, The Cottage. The CBD committee recommends that council provide no objection to application 158051 for the Crown Land application with the following conditions. Transport Canada, which is NAV Canada and D&D, providing written approval accepting the application 158, that should be 051, relating to their NEF contour evaluation process requirements. B, if Transport Canada, and in brackets NAV Canada and D&D, allows development, then the applicant shall follow the town's discretionary land application process. C, that a fire and safety inspection be satisfactorily completed at the applicant's cost. D, development to comply with the town's development regulations. And E, the permitted use is cottage only.
All right, so the recommendation is made by the chair, Councillor Brumfield, that we recommend the Chris Cabot Cottage 158051 application as here. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? All right, so Councillor Winters?
Have everything been approved? NAVCAN,
Well, no, that's,
A, B,
Okay, just-
C, D,
no,
E.
it's
like that.
yeah.
I'm gonna put it to Mr. Dillon. Has everything been,
Everything's in order from the, from our perspective. Now it has to go back to the Crown Lands to say that we have no objection.
any further discussion? It's just that I would prefer that the information be provided to committee, that committee have all the information to make the decisions. Because like I say, you know, they have been waiting considerable amounts of time, but I also I disagree with providing a recommendation or an approval based on them getting some other information. So NAV Canada is not permitting people to build here. It's the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay. So it doesn't matter what has to come in. That information should have been here, and we should have made a decision based on that, and not in a wording that says that if NAV Canada, D&D, or Transport Canada allows development, that's it's us that allows development based on our regulations. I think it should. Like I say, I would prefer to see it presented in that format.
Yes. Your
Councillor
Worship,
Palmer.
Just I would recommend then just to change some of the wording in the actual recommendation to reflect the fact that we received approval from NAV Canada, or Mr. Caddy.
But you're-
On February 11th, 2022, basically for opening line, NAV Canada has evaluated the caption proposal and has no objection to the project as submitted. Our assessment does not constitute an approval or permit for any other permit from other agencies. So from
Right.
NAVCAN's point of view,
Yep.
they don't object to his application.
Right. I have no issue that way. It's just you're changing a recommendation that should have come from committee, but didn't come from committee because committee didn't have it. We're doing it here at the council table, and that's not the appropriate measure. Any further discussion? CAO?
Yeah, sorry, I just looking through here, there was an email that came through from the engineering technician, that went to the Director of Engineering, other staff members that sit on the committee, Councillor Broomfield, Councillor Pomeroy, Councillor Compton Hobbs, and, Mayor. I think the date on this one is the 20th of
20th.
February, that had the entire Chris Cabot application there with the letter from NAVCAN included.
But that's an email. That's not a discussion, right? So committee didn't have a chance. It was done after committee. So in the past, in the future, I think that we just need to tighten up in terms of how we shouldn't be conducting committee business here at the table necessarily. Yep. Deputy Mayor.
With all due respect, this has been ongoing for quite a while. Everything's been in order. All they're waiting on is NAV Canada. It's been received through emails. It's come through. I know we're not going to be discussing committee issues here at the table here today, but if it's coming in a recommendation, and that's all they're waiting for, couldn't it just go forward with this?
But again, the committee doesn't have an opportunity to discuss it. So if that email did come in
And they didn't meet
and it just got put here, then the committee members don't have a chance to discuss. This one is simple because it's that way. But if it's the way we're doing committee business, then why have committee? So, further discussion? All right. All those in favor of recommending 158051 indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded?
Nay.
Okay. Motion is passed. Next recommendation, sir.
Okay, the next one is from Darren Hill. Application 160396, Darren Hill up on Trans-Labrador Highway. The CBD committee recommends that council provide no objection to application 160396 for the Crown Land application with the following conditions. A, Transport Canada, and in brackets NAV Canada and D&D, providing written approval accepting application 160396 related to their NEF contour evaluation process / requirements. B, if Transport Canada, in brackets NAV Canada and D&D, allows development, then the applicant shall follow the town's discretionary land application process. C, that a fire and safety inspection be satisfactorily completed at the applicant's cost. D, development to comply with the town's development regulations. And E, to permitted use as cottage only.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Broomfield, CPD committee, that we recommend the approval of application number 160396, Darren Hill, on the Trans-Labrador Highway. Seconded by?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, unlike the previous application, Your Worship, there was no accompanying information that came along with this one. There was no letter that came as well from NAV Canada or anything like that, at least not to committee. And so just wanted to point that out. So it's a little different than the previous one.
Yep, so there isn't approval for this one?
No.
Okay. All right. Any further conversations or discussion? Deputy Mayor?
How long has this been, is this over a year?
No, this one
No.
is just, first one I think
Just
was in January
few
or
months.
December.
Yeah.
So is this an incomplete application?
My understanding is they do have approval
So but do we?
Not with the application.
We didn't-
from NavCan, but through Crown Lands and not to the town. Is that correct?
We didn't have the approval, the notification from Crown Lands
Yes.
or from NAV Canada.
On this application?
No, that's correct.
All right, so this shouldn't be here. So,
Mayor,
did
the
this-
question
yep.
is, why is it even here if they're?
I couldn't tell you. So it shouldn't be here. Okay, so it's
Just
been
that-
moved,
that-
it's been moved and seconded.
The discussion
I'll-
we had in the meeting, though, just so the public's clear, was that there was a lengthy debate on who received the NAV Canada approval, and they were saying it goes to Crown Lands, and are we gonna accept that? And so, that's not the case anymore?
I'm not sure, but in the past I've seen the DNEF stuff, but it takes a considerable amount of time to get it. So right now we have a motion on the floor. It's been moved and seconded to recommend number 160396. So all those in favor of this recommendation indicate with aye. Contrary-minded? Nay. The application is defeated. Next recommendation, please.
Okay, the next one is from Tom Winters for an infill residential lot. The CBD committee recommends council support and approve the application from Tom Winters for approval of an infill lot located at 22 Cabot Crescent with the following conditions. Compliance with all the town's development regulations with special reference to section 3.2.1, which is residential low density 1, and section 5.6.9, which is infill residential, and C, applicant to acquire all required building permits.
All right, so it's been moved by Councillor Brumfield and the Community Planning and Development Committee that we recommend and support the application from Mr. Tom Winters for infill on 22 Cabot Crescent.
I'll
Seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? Thankfully, there's no NEF discussion in this one.
Mayor, can I
For-
ask a question on the previous?
No, we're dealing with this one now.
So when can I
Yeah,
ask a question?
You can do it as soon as we finish this one.
On the previous one?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. No further discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. Next recommendation, sir? Or just a second. No, you had a point on the last one.
I wanted to say, just ask, we deferred that recommendation.
We defeated it.
Yeah, but, so he can resubmit, or how does that work? He's gotta resubmit?
Absolutely. He'll do the process.
Shouldn't we have deferred it? Cause he's had it there for months.
Yep.
So,
But it's not approved, so
he's gotta pay that application fee
no, it's
again?
the recommendation is not to go ahead with this one.
Right.
So he's going to have to provide the information. I would suggest that he come in and speak with our
The missing information.
So he doesn't have to pay
the
all the fees again?
no, I
Well,
mean
we did get
we
that
we
letter,
just
right?
we just right now this information this shouldn't have even come to us,
Okay.
right? All right. Next recommendation, please.
Okay, the next one is from Chelsea Coley, which is a home-based business at 30 Palliser Crescent. The CBD committee recommends that council support and approve the application of Chelsea Coley for Grow Your Voice Speech Therapy, home-based business located at 30 Palliser Crescent with the following conditions. A, fire and life safety inspection as per NFPA 101 be satisfactorily completed at the applicant's cost. B, applicant provides an application for a business registration and change of use at the applicant's cost. C, compliance with all the town's development regulations with special reference to section 6.3, business in the residential land use class, and D, Applicant obtains all required approvals from Service NL or any government agencies having jurisdiction.
So it's been moved by Councillor Brumfield and the CPD committee that we approve, or recommend that we approve the application for Chelsea Coley for Grow Your Voice Speech Therapy at 30 Palliser Crescent. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Discussion. None heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion passed. Next recommendation, sir?
Okay, the next one is an application for home-based business from Nikita Woodward, which is be located at 25 Edmonds Crescent. The CBD committee recommends council support and approve the application of Nikita Woodward for Nikita's Nails home-based business located at 25 Edmonds Crescent with the following conditions. A, fire and life safety inspection as per NFPA 101 be satisfactorily completed at the applicant's cost. B, applicant provides an application for a business registration change of use at the applicant's cost. C, compliance with all the town's development regulations with special reference to section 6.3, business in the residential land use class. And C, applicant obtains all required approvals from Service NL or any government agencies having jurisdiction.
All right, moved by Councillor Woodward, CPD committee, that we approve the... Oh, I'm reading here and sorry. That we seconded, moved by Councillor Brumfield, that we approve an application by Nikita Woodward at 25 Evans Crescent to establish Nikita's Nails home-based business at 25 Edmonds Crescent. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion. None heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion passed. Next recommendation, sir, please.
Okay, the next one is a home-based business application again from Matthew Streeter, 25 Edmonds Crescent.
Just a
The
point of order.
CPD committee
Just a point of order. That's a
What?
typo. Yeah, that's a typo. The 25 Evans Crescent should meter, sir.
440E.
Yeah, he's 440E Northwest River Road. Yeah,
Oh, right.
looks like copy and paste here. Sorry. Proceed if you would.
Matthew Streeter, home-based business application for 440E Northwest River Road. The CBD committee recommends that council support and approve the application from Matthew Streeter for home-based business located at 440E Northwest River Road with the following conditions. A, fire and life safety inspection as per NFPA 101 be satisfactorily completed at the applicant's cost. B, applicant provides an application for a business registration change of use at the applicant's cost. C, compliance with all the town's development regulations with special reference to section 6.3, business in the residential and land use class. And D, applicant obtains all required approvals from Service NL or any government agencies having jurisdiction.
Moved by Councillor Brumfield.
I'll second that.
To accept that we accept and support approve an application by Matthew Streeter for home-based business at 440E Northwest River Road. Seconded by
I was
Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion. Oh, we got lots of discussion. Councillor Rumbold had her hand up first.
I address it to the chair, to Councillor Broomfield, I guess, Mayor. Just wondering what the nature of this home-based business is, because it's not.
Yes,
Coffee roasting
I
business.
agree with you fully, and I after looking through the application, I think that these need to
That was my
these need to indicate what type of business, especially from a residential perspective. It's nice for folks to know what's going in next door. This is a coffee roasting business,
Yes.
roasting coffee beans.
And in
Any-
saying that, Mayor, there is, on some of them, it says like nails, and others don't, so
Yeah.
it makes sense to include.
And that goes back to our discussion that we've had several times about having full, complete applications. I'm not personally in support of this one, and the reason I'm not is this, in my definition of home, this is not a home. This is a cottage on the Northwest River Road, and if you look at the application, it says they will recreationally roast coffee beans while they're at the cottage. So I'm not sure if cottage is even available or able to be used as a home-based business in our definition. So I'm not sure, but like I say, this address is a cottage. It's not a residence, and just are we going to operate a business out of a cottage, or what's the process? It wasn't very clear in the application. So for that reason, I personally won't be supporting this one. Any further discussion? Yep.
Municipal Tech, before we came into this meeting this evening, I was sitting in the back room chatting to him in the boardroom, and he did mention that you had called him and asked questions about that particular issue, whether a cottage is a permitted use or a roasting home-based business is a permitted use in the cottage zoned area. And he said it is according to our development regulations.
Yeah.
Now, he told me the section, I don't remember, I didn't write it down.
3.62. Councillor, you had mentioned, did you say something?
No, I was
Then
just
I'll
going
go.
to just add on to what Councillor Broomfield said in terms of the indication from the municipal tech was that this was a permitted use in a cottage area as a home-based business. I think the intent is to roast the beans and then eventually sell them online or probably from the.
So we're going to sell stuff from our cottage now. Councillor Palmer, or Councillor Compton House.
I do support the recommendation. I do know the area of the cottage, and it's more like a home, so I say they spend a fair bit of time down there, and I mean, it's legitimate enough to go in and roast some beans, and I don't have an issue with the recommendation at all.
Councillor Wallace.
Thank you.
Or Deputy Mayor Wallace, sorry.
But is it a home or is it a cottage?
According to the application, it's a
It's
cottage.
because they spend a lot of time there.
But
It's more
like I
like a
said, a
home.
home-based business is a permitted use in that zone, even though it's a cottage.
If it was a house in that zone or a cottage in that zone?
It makes no difference.
Seemed
It's just
like
the
it
use,
should
right?
check.
Okay, not cross the table now, folks, because it's too hard for people to hear. Did you want to finish your comments, Councillor?
Well, really,
Broomfield?
this day and age where we're living now, difference between the cottage and the home is getting pretty thin, really, I think. But I mean, it's a permitted use under our development regulations, even if it's a cottage or a home. It's a permitted use.
Home would be. I'm personally not so sure a cottage would be, but because it's not a home, quote unquote, home-based business. So,
But I guess we can't.
sorry,
determine-
I'll go to Deputy Mayor first. Just one second.
I think that was my point, is that they live there year-round in something that's a cottage or a home.
No, they only occasionally go there. They have a residence in another part of town.
So how is this even a home-based business? I agree.
Yeah, that was the questions I asked. Councillor Compton
It's
House.
permitted use, so I mean, how can you not support something that's permitted?
It's a
we can't
it's a
determine.
permitted use.
Well, it's allowed in that area.
In someone's opinion, it's a permitted use.
Yeah, so we can't determine if they stayed there 7 days a week or 2 days a week. We don't know that, right?
Well, if you read the application, it clearly indicates that it's not their residence.
Yeah.
So, any further discussion?
Yeah,
Councillor
just-
Palmer, and
just
then
to
we'll
add, whether it's a home-based business or not, it's a cottage, based on the location and the zoning, it's basically a seasonal residence. And I guess they wanted to go through the proper process of roasting beans. I think they probably could have roasted beans anyway, without an application for council.
Yeah.
Once they get into retailing it, I guess then it becomes a different matter, but
why does it become a different matter?
because
Yes,
they
retailing.
could potentially be selling it from Northwest River Road or.
So they're
That's
gonna
what they're doing.
that's
And then
the
it becomes a
intention
Yeah,
That's
to
not
roast the
what he
beans
said.
for sale.
yeah.
So, any further discussion? All those in favor of recommending or approving the application for 440 East Northwest River Road, indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Nay. Motion's passed. Next recommendation, sir.
Okay, next one is again a home-based business from Heidi Applin, located at 113 Hamilton River Road. The CBD committee recommends that council support and approve the application of Heidi Applin for Evergold Permanent Jewelry, home-based business located at 113 Hamilton River Road, with the following conditions. A, fire and life safety inspection as per NFPA 101 be satisfactorily completed, at the applicant's cost. B, applicant provides an application for a business registration / change of use at the applicant's cost. C, compliance with all the town's development regulations with special reference to section 6.3, business in the residential land use class. And D, applicant obtains all required approvals from Service NL or any government agencies having jurisdiction.
All right, moved by Councillor Brumfield to the CPD committee that we approve a home-based business application for 113 Hamilton River Road. Seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, you said it, Councillor put his arm up, so I'll go with you, Councillor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contraminded? Motion passed. Next recommendation, sir?
Okay, the next one again is a home-based business application by Monty Edwards for a home-based business at 6D Mesher Street. The CBD committee recommends that council support and approve the application for Monty Edwards for a home-based business located at 6D Mesher Street with the following conditions. A, fire and life safety inspection as per NFPA 101 be satisfactorily completed at the applicant's cost. B, applicant provides an application for a business registration change of use at the applicant's cost. C, compliance with all the town's development regulations with special reference to section 6.3, business in the residential land use class. And D, applicant obtains all required approvals from Service NL or any government agencies having jurisdiction.
Okay, moved again by Councillor Brumfield through the CPD committee that we approve an application by Monty Edwards for a home-based business at 6D Mesher Street. Seconded by? Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? Councillor, or Deputy Mayor, Deputy Mayor Wallace?
What's this business?
I can't remember that one.
It's called, electrical contract.
He's storing for the home phone and fax and the storage of tools for his electrical contracting business. All right, no further discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contraminded. Recommendations passed. Next recommendation, sir.
Okay, the next recommendation is again an application for home-based business at 18 Hamilton River Road. Now, I don't know if I'm in a conflict because I live directly next door. It's up to the council to decide that one.
So, you're asking us to decide
Yeah,
if it's your next door neighbor?
yes.
All right, so what I will ask you to do is if you would remove yourself from the council chambers for a moment, we'll deal with the issue. Have the record indicate that Councillor Brumfield is asking council to decide if he is in conflict. All right, so it's he's declared he wants council to decide if he's in conflict because he's the next door neighbor. Any feedback?
I don't think he's in a conflict, in my opinion.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No, I feel the same way. I don't think it's in a conflict unless it's a relative of his.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so I'm hearing unanimous. If someone would like to make the motion that he is not in conflict, this is what I'm hearing.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Rumbold. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded. If you would have the minutes indicate that council has decided. And return Councillor Brumfield to the chambers. Councillor Brumfield, you are not in conflict, as decided by council. Vote.
Okay, final recommendation from the CBD committee. Application from Melissa Chack for a home-based business at 18 Hamilton River Road. The CBD committee recommends that council support and approve the application of Melissa Chack for Remember When Photography's home-based business located at 18 Hamilton River Road with the following conditions. A, fire and life safety inspection as per NFPA 101 be satisfactorily completed at the applicant's cost. B, applicant provides an application for a business registration change of use at the applicant's cost. C, compliance with all the town's development regulations with special reference to section 6.3, business in a residential land use class. And D, applicant obtains all required approvals from Service NL or any government agencies having jurisdiction.
Okay, moved by Councillor Brumfield to the CPD committee that we recommend and approve a home-based business for Melissa Chalk. Remember When Photography at 18 Hamilton River Road. Seconded by? Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Sorry. Discussion? No discussion heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion's passed. So you're finished with your recommendation, sir?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Is there any way to make our meetings more efficient, that we can look at a clause that says, as per our home-based business policy, to tighten up having to read that? Because we're getting more and more of our home-based business applications, which is great to see, but just to make our meeting more efficient, we don't need to read the same thing over and over and over. If it's possible, staff might investigate some ways of being able to do that. That would allow us more efficient use of time, for sure.
Yeah, and also listed here what the business is.
Absolutely.
Be more clear.
Yeah, and we did usually, we do see it there, but can we ensure that in the next recommendations that it is what the business is going to be? Just in case then someone may have an objection, even though it's been advertised. And that is just nice to know that some people may have missed the advertisement. All right, let's move into community services and recreation.
Wonderful, thank you, Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
The Community Services and Recreation Committee held its meeting on February 14th. Present were Chair, Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace, Councillor Denise Rumbold, Councillor Bert Pomeroy, Director of CSR Travis Ford, EA Kathy Eddy, CDR Manager Greg Osmond. Regrets from the meeting was CAO Nadine McCauley. There was a delegation from the Snowflake Figure Skating Club.
Just a point of order, I'm going to declare conflict, as my wife is the vice president of the skating group, so I'm just going to turn the chair to you. Or I'll turn the chair to Councillor Winters, and you can proceed with your thing. Good?
Yeah, absolutely. Just reflect in the minutes that the mayor is removed himself. Am I okay to go ahead? There was a delegation from the Snowflake Figure Skating Club. It's just a brief summary of the meeting in there. Attendees were Myrna Gillam, President, Marjorie Andrews, Vice President, Coach Amber Tremblett, and the Figure Skating Club presented to the committee on behalf of the Figure Skating Club to bring forward ongoing issues they're experiencing with respect to the change rooms and arena staff. Also discussed was the date of the upcoming ice show. The CSR committee was then called to order at 12:40 p.m. Previous minutes and action items were reviewed with no errors or omissions. New business discussed. The committee held a lengthy conversation on the heating and air pooling issues at the arena. Concerns were discussed at length about the heating in the arena and how it causes air pooling over specific areas of the ice surface. Committee agreed there are several issues that were not completed and addressed from previous renovations at the arena, such as heating, airflow, and ventilation that require serious discussion with the town engineer. Briefing note outlines options and to address concerns. There is a recommendation following on that. Another serious issue is the arena accessibility. The CSR committee discussed the accessibility lift at the Clyde's room end of the arena, and it had been out of order for a specific period of time. It was made certain by the CSR director that it would be in working order as soon as possible, and especially with events happening in the arena shortly, being the Winter Games. The CSR manager presented his report and also provided a list of town events that involve CSR staff over the course of the year. The report and events list will be made available in the council package. The CSR committee is requesting a list of all the 50th committee events for the year to ensure the CSR staff are well informed and prepared, as well as keeping all town council up to date. Meeting was adjourned at 1:05 p.m. Next meeting will be held on Thursday, March 9th at 4:30 p.m. Please accept this as having the CSR report as being read, and we have one recommendation.
All right, so thank you for your report. Can I get a motion to accept report as given? Pardon me? Oh, sorry.
seconded
Is there a seconder for,
I'll second the report.
all right,
Thank you.
now,
Discussion.
any discussion?
I just wanted to mention the Snowflake Figure Skating presented at the last public meeting, and there was some minor issues that probably could have been dealt with long ago. But I understand they have their figure skating ice show now set, but there's probably other groups that are upset because it's interfering with the schedule. But I just wanted to recommend for your next meeting, if maybe you could ask, and I don't think that happened this past year to my knowledge, I might be wrong, but if the CSR director would hold a users group meeting in September, and all this could have been avoided. He could have met with all the user groups and worked out their schedules, and they come to the meeting with their schedules of all their events throughout the winter, and that could have been avoided, I think. So maybe you could just recommend that to him for next year, because he's new and he wouldn't know that, I guess, that they meet every September.
I believe all the dates and everything were confirmed for most of the user groups in there. Obviously, we have many things that happen in the arena, soccer, hockey tournaments, and I'm not sure if it's with the CSR director or with Anne that confirms those, and whether there was a cross there.
Yeah, there could have been miscommunication, but if Snowflake was at that meeting, they would have known that here's these events happening. They would have knew back in September when they had to schedule their. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but that's something that could fix it simple, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Recommendation for, can I read this one? Go ahead for,
All except.
oh, excuse me.
Is there any more discussion? None? Gonna vote on recommendation, or sorry, motion to approve.
We gotta accept all this,
Okay.
report. All in favor?
Oh,
All
yes.
in favor of accepting report as given?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Recommendation?
All right, thank you. The recommendation for the CSR, Community Services and Recreation Committee. Okay. Heating, air pooling at the arena. The CSR committee recommends council direct staff to investigate options to mitigate the heating issue at the Broomfield Arena, EJ Broomfield Arena, with the assistance of the engineering department.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor and the CSR Committee that Council direct staff to investigate options to mitigate the heating issue in the arena. Seconded by Councilor Rumbold. Discussion.
Vote time.
None. All right.
Yeah, I
Deputy
think
Mayor
it
Wallace?
should be-
Discuss on
it
that?
sh-
Yep.
yeah, it should be thorough as well. I mean, as thorough as possible, because that arena, we all know that arena's old. But, I mean, the town just invested a lot of money in its flooring and in its new plant, and it's still not operating.
Well, plus the
properly.
electrical.
Plus, the
yeah.
electrical needs to be, it's just
Yep.
severely needed.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good? All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Okay, motion is passed. All right, let's move to Finance, Admin, and Policy Committee, and the Chair, Councilor Rumbold.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Finance, Admin, and Policy Committee met on February the 21st, 2023. The meeting was called to order at 4:35 p.m. Present were myself as Chair, Deputy Mayor Wallace, Councilor Winters, CAO McCauley, DFO Dalmont, SAT Campagna, HR Jack, and EA Eddy. Regrets were extended by CDR Osmond. The committee reviewed previous minutes and action items, and no errors or omissions were detected. Status updates were provided from staff responsible for action items which had been carried forward. Staff provided updates to the committee on some business properties with outstanding taxes, which now have requested payment arrangements to be put in place. Discussion was held in regards to a significant amount of business taxes which have balances outstanding and have not responded to correspondence from the town. In many cases, no request for payment arrangements have been made. It was decided that, where applicable and necessary, council may proceed with tax sales, small claims, or other avenues to collect arrears. Discussion was held in regards to not-for-profit organizations and how to best define a not-for-profit. Committee agreed that a set of criteria must be put in place and that this will require input of all council members, with a meeting to be scheduled to discuss this. In the meantime, the SAT will research other municipalities of similar size for reference and forward that information to the committee. The SAT then provided to committee a list of accounts receivables arrears that is quite substantial and dates prior to 2020. The SAT also provided the committee with quotes from collection agencies, giving options as a way to proceed with collecting problem accounts. The committee has agreed to move forward with engaging the services of a collection agency. I cannot stress enough that this is something that council does not take lightly. We have time and time again encouraged our residents to reach out and make payment arrangements if financial hardship prevents them from paying their taxes in full. Many of our citizens continue to pay their taxes in full and on time. And it's an unfortunate fact that there is a substantial amount of tax arrears that we are unable to utilize for improvements or additions to our town's infrastructure. New business included donation requests, requests for interest relief, property tax exemptions, business tax exemptions, and correspondence from a business with a billing dispute. Recommendations are to follow on these items. In other business, some policies were reviewed and updates made with recommendations to follow. Correspondence was received from 2 companies offering technical services to the town. That information was reviewed, and although not a priority at this time, their proposals may be revisited at a later date. Managers' reports were given by the Supervisor of Assessment and Taxation and the Director of Financial Operations. The Supervisor of Assessment and Taxation advised that residents can now apply for tax relief for the 2023 year using their 2021 Notice of Assessment. We are making progress with our aged receivables, and as previously mentioned, we are proceeding in a new direction. Our next meeting will be held on March 21st, and the meeting was adjourned at 6:55 p.m.
All right, it's been moved by Councillor Rumbold that we accept the Finance, Admin and Policy Committee report as presented, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion. Councillor Brumfield.
With all this accounts receivable growing, basically, I guess, would you happen to know how much of this is a result of Royal Bank no longer paying property taxes, business taxes?
No, that's not something we can really gauge. I guess we would have to have our staff go back and see what percentage of, so I'm just gonna use myself, and I can't speak to the Royal Bank arrangements, but I'm gonna tell you myself as an RBC client. I no longer have my property tax come off of my mortgage directly. It's no longer paid by RBC. I met with a banking advisor, and we made a plan for the go forward because RBC had removed that option from their clients and presented their clients with a different option. So just for me personally, just putting it out there, money comes out of my bank account bi-weekly into a separate high interest savings account, which I then pay my property tax with. I am referring back to the letter that I, Denise Rumbold, received from Royal Bank of Canada that said, please be advised, RBC customer, that we will no longer be providing you with this service. Here are some options for you as a client. Whether I did that and Jane Doe chose not to do that, I think it's going to take probably, and this was only discontinued in the last 2 taxation years. So I think we may see more of it. Because, yeah, it's human nature. Some people might say if it doesn't automatically come out, I'm not going to do that. But again, we refer back to payment arrangements, payment schedules. People can log into their online banking quite easily and register the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay as a bill payee and make their payments. So I can't speak to it. Somebody sitting across the table from me may be a Scotiabank client and still have that option.
Yeah.
To single one out, I just really.
I that's fine, but I mean, we're not talking, small amounts of money. We have receivables and staff have been making a really good attempt at and success in collecting. It's just that, in order to run our town, we have a balanced budget. We expect folks to contribute the tax money to be able to run the town as they are asking it to be run, fire hall, streets cleared, garbage collection, etc. So to run large amounts of taxes due to town over numerous years is just at the end of the day not acceptable anymore. We just can't afford to continue because, as Councillor Rumbold indicated in the report, that prevents us from doing other stuff. But the other side is that not having that money because we run a balanced budget, we end up having to get that money from somewhere, and that's coming from line of credit, or we're not doing projects, the heat and arena project, that kinds of stuff. So that, we only have so much money to go around. So I think that it's incumbent on us to set a very strict policy going forward that we are going to take very aggressive actions. Hardship is hardship. Everybody understands we've went through COVID, etc. There's a process and time for that. But some of these accounts are pre-COVID and just not acceptable anymore. And as a community, we're running big dollars and there's no reason. There's no reason because there just really is no reason. And if there is a reason, come in. We're more than, happy to sit down and discuss an arrangement. But at the end of the day, it has to be paid, whether it's a business tax, whether it's a private residence tax. I mean, so as a council, we're kind of sending that message through this committee that, collection agency is one, but we have a bunch of other options that we have available. We would rather not have to go there, but I think we're at a stage now where we really don't have a choice. And I think the residents expect us, the ones that, pay their taxes and contribute, expect us to be better fiscally responsible with the dollars. Councillor Palmer?
Yeah, totally agree, Mayor. The onus is on the taxpayer to ensure that their taxes are paid, whether it's through a bank or whether they don't, even if they don't have a mortgage. So the onus is on the taxpayer, and I totally agree that, we need to be forceful on this issue because it's been going on for years and years and years. In some cases, they do go beyond 5 or 6 years, and they're kind of wiped off the books. So, we can't let it get beyond that. And there's a substantial amount that's still owed to the town, and whatever we do perhaps I understand going through a collection agency, but there's a cost to doing that as well, and we won't recover that cost. And some of the other ones might seem harsh, but then again, maybe a harsh one now and then will send a clear message.
Absolutely, and I mean, look, I look at, everybody's challenged in terms of this fiscal situation that we're in and cost of living and, inflation. But, when I see a poor senior coming in and, I'm having a discussion and, yes, they do get a break somewhat, but that's still a huge challenge and burden for them to pay their taxes, and they're paying their taxes. So, yeah, I just think, don't need to belabor the point. We're taking a different course of action. So I hope that our taxation staff becomes very busy with folks coming in to do that, so we don't have to go the other routes. Any further discussion on the motion, Councillor Broomfield?
Just one further question, real short and simple. I don't expect your answer from this tonight. If you could bring it back to your committee for the next month would be nice. Simple question is this: Did the Royal Bank pull out their thing because they don't have any financial statements updated?
I can
So
answer that one. I
yeah.
can actually answer that one
Yep.
because the letter that I got was to RBC clients across Canada. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
that
it's
would
not
be
only
a-
that. It's not only that
yeah,
institution.
happy value fees.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the report as presented indicate with aye. Aye. And I will forewarn you that there are several.
Ages.
Well, I didn't want to go to pages because I don't want to lose anybody, but there are many things, so we'll try to go through them as expeditiously as possible. So, recommendations from the Finance and Admin, Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will try to be expeditious, and it's a lot. So, Finance, Admin, and Policy Committee. Item 1, Mealy Mountain Collegiate. The Finance, Admin, and Policy Committee recommends that Council approve a one-time in-kind donation of a 2-hour ice rental to Mealy Mountain Collegiate, and this is should it fit in with the arena's current ice time schedule, and this is for an initiative referenced as Wednesday Wellness.
All right, so it's moved by the FAP committee that we recommend a one-time in-kind donation of a 2-hour ice rental to Mealy Mountain Collegiate. Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion?
Just a
My-
question, would this even need to come as a recommendation?
I just asked Deputy Mayor the same question, but anyway, it's here now and we have it. There's a vote. So, any further discussion?
Yeah, I think this application had to do with an ongoing request for multiple weeks. But based on, after discussion at committee level, was Other schools request free ice time as well, so we gave them the opportunity to give them a one-time free session.
Gotcha. All right, good to know. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion passed. Next recommendation, please.
Item B, interest relief, Gary Callahan, Alexandra Cabot. Number 1, so just a disclaimer too, this is going to have, this is an item B, but it will have 15 recommendations. I'm gonna look at the CAO, we're voting individually on each of the 15. So it may seem repetitive, but just so that you know, this is the same client or citizen, but 15 different recommendations.
It
So-
has to be based on property.
On
And
property?
yes, because of
But can it be a
property
single motion with the
Okay.
properties listed if it's the same accept or deny?
Say yes to one and no to another.
It's parcel IDs and, yeah, different recommendations. So, I'm going to start with number 1. FAP committee recommends council approve property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $2,480.45 to Gary Callahan Holdings Limited, parcel ID 182008, on the grounds that the principal amount of $13,575.88 is paid in full.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold, the FAP committee, that we recommend property tax on par or parcel identification 182008. Seconded by?
Mayor, sorry,
Sorry.
not the property tax, the interest exemption, sorry.
On the
Approve
proposed-
property tax and water.
Interest.
It says property tax and
Oh.
water and sewer interest exemption?
So it should have worded property tax interest
Okay,
and water and sewer.
I apologize, because I'm
sorry, yeah.
reading the, so
Yeah.
it is for property tax and water and sewer interest exemption.
Interest
Okay.
only.
Yes.
On the par. Seconded by?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, just a question. So that's conditional on the fact that they pay the principal amount in full?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Just-
And it's just the interest on the contingency that the principal be paid in
So-
full.
Councillor Brumfield.
So when did they pay in full, then they pay in full and get
They haven't.
They
They
haven't
have
yet.
not.
Their timeline.
We will exempt the interest if we receive the principal amount in full, correct? Wording this
I'll take my turn here. I absolutely disagree. And the reason I do is what you're doing is you're saying that we've had to carry this money for a period of time, unless there's hardship in terms of, which we wouldn't be necessarily included to. But if you pay your bills in full, because we've had to carry that, we will eat that money. I disagree with that 100%. Councillor Palmer?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess on the same line, collecting, and I know it's been done in the past, and generally happens in a lot of different businesses and organizations where if you pay the principal in full, you're collecting your initial taxes, and the interest charges are often waived. So I just want to make that point.
Oh, I fully realize that that's a common practice in business. In business is fine because you can, write things off and stuff. We've had to carry debt, doesn't matter whose debt or what debt, but we've had to carry debt and pay a price for that. We had to come from somewhere. So to turn around and tell somebody, yes, pay your bill and we will exempt your interest, I disagree. Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little bit more information because you did mention the hardship quote. I do want to say that in the letter requesting the relief from the resident, they did reference hardship, but I do also have to point out that they did not apply for the relief,
Okay.
but they did reference it as well.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving property tax and water and sewer interest exemption to parcel 182008 indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Aye.
Nay.
Motion is defeated. Next recommendation, please.
FAP committee recommends council approve business tax interest exemption of $6,186.76 Emma's Suites per ID 182008001 on the grounds that the principal amount of $33,374.40 is paid in full.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold, the FAP Committee, that we approve business tax interest exemptions of the indicated amount for parcel 182008001. All those in favor, or seconder, sorry?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? I'm in the exact same position. I won't be supporting this motion. Further discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Nay. Motion is defeated. Next motion, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $394.59 on par ID 079463.
Okay, moved by Councillor Rumbold, the FAP Committee, that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest on parcel 079463. Seconded by? Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? Councillor Rumbold?
Little more insight, Your Worship, just because some of these, you'll see recommendations for approval, some for denial. In this particular case, I believe that this was not a commercial property, so not a property that under the argument of hardship would have been affected by a COVID shutdown.
Okay. Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of denying property tax exemption for 079463 indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion is passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,201.52 par ID 081269.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold, the FAP Committee, that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest exemption 081269. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Discussion? Councillor Pomeroy?
Yeah, just a quick question. Like in the first two, Councillor, you mentioned that.
So is there a question directed to the motion?
In
Okay.
the first two, the Councillor Rumbold had indicated that the exemption would be, or recommended an exemption on the grounds that the principal amount be paid in full. In terms of these, there's no conditions on anything, just basically deny. Is it based on paying the same thing? Is it
No,
based
same
on
thing that I referenced in the last one, Councillor Pomeroy, was that we had to view a commercial property with because the letter came in reference to a impact of business shutdown or loss of revenue. So when we're looking at something that may have been a rental property that would not have resulted, tenants don't up and leave a property because COVID is, in fact, it may be the exact opposite. So there wasn't a argument for, okay, we'll cover this and not that on this. It was just it didn't fit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Further discussion? None heard. All those in favor of denying the recommendation on par 081269 indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion is passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,367.87 par ID 079127 for Gary Callahan Holdings Limited.
Okay, moved by Councillor Rumbold, the FAP Committee, that we deny the water and sewer interest exemption on par 079127. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. All those, discussion? All those in favor with the recommendation indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion's passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,457 par ID 079138 for Gary Callahan Holdings Limited.
All right, moved by Councillor Rumbold through the FAP Committee that we deny the water and sewer interest exemption on property identification 079138. Seconded by? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion? None heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion's passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $302.96 per ID 205808 for Gary Callahan Holdings Limited.
All right, moved by Councilor Rumbold to the FAP Committee that we deny property tax and water exemption as noted for par 0798287. Is that correct? No, sorry, one before. 205808. Seconded by Councilor Brumfield. Discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded. Motion's passed. Next one, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $302.96 per ID 079287 for Gary Callahan Holdings Limited.
All right, it's moved by Councilor Rumbold through the FAP Committee that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest exemption on parcel 079287. Seconded by Councilor Brumfield. Discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded. Motion's passed. Next one, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $302.96 per ID 257646 for Gary Callahan Holdings Limited.
All right, moved by Councilor Rumbold through the FAP Committee that we deny the water and sewer interest exemption on parcel 080430. Seconded by? That's the correct one?
257646.
Sorry, I checked that one off. Okay, sorry. 257. We did 646, didn't we?
I had
Okay, 080. Yeah, I checked it off, so I think so. 080430. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Indicate, sorry, negative. Motion is passed. Next recommendation, please.
Okay, so now I have to ask because I'm lost. So we just did
Number 11.
430. Okay.
We're doing number 11.
Sorry. FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $91.02 per ID 081318 for Gary Callahan Holdings Limited.
And it's moved by Councilor Rumbold to the FAP Committee that we deny the property tax and water and sewer interest exemption for property number 081318. Seconded by Councilor Brumfield. Discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded. Motion passed. Next number, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,376.06 per ID 257821 for JMAC Construction and Real Estate Incorporated.
Moved by Councilor Rumbold through the FAP Committee that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest exemption for parcel 257821. Seconded by Councilor Winters. Discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Excuse me?
Sorry.
No. I had a question, Mayor.
Yeah.
So this again was not, there was no issue with hardship with these properties, even though it's a business?
Let's see. Councilor Palmer, I do believe that the discussion was held on the fact that there was business relief offered through a program through the town, and the business owner did not apply for that relief program. So it would have been something that would have been imprudent for us to, I mean, if an application wasn't made on the basis of business hardship, then how do we argue for an exemption on the basis of business hardship? Oh, this is a residential.
Residential.
This is a residential. I have a whole lot.
Residential property. Okay. So we're in question on number 13 here, right? All right. So any further discussion?
12.
12?
We're voting on.
12.
Okay. 12. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded. Motion passed. Number 13, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,188.66 per ID 257791 for JMAC Construction and Real Estate Incorporated.
It is moved by Councilor Rumbold through FAP. And we recommend that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest exemption on parcel 257791, seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Pass. Next one, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,188.66 per ID 257853 for JMAC Construction and Real Estate Incorporated.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Rumble to the FAP Committee that we deny a request for property tax and water and sewer interest exemption for parcel 257853. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Councillor negative. And the motion is passed. Next motion, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $826.07 per ID 204086.
It's moved by Councillor Rumble to the FAP Committee that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest exemption on parcel 204086. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye. Contrary-minded? Motion is passed.
Okay, continuing on with interest relief. The FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,035.78 per ID 079774 for Labrador Investments Limited.
Moved by Councillor Rumble to the FAP Committee that we deny property tax exemption and water and sewer interest exemption, on parcel 079774. Seconded by? Bless you. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion?
Just a question, did they apply for the exemption at the time? Or was it like hardship, any mentioned, or?
She's indicating no.
I'm looking back through my notes and I don't see.
There was no application for the business tax relief for COVID that was offered during 2020.
There was
Okay.
none?
There's no record of any COVID adjustment made on the business accounts reflecting as such, and no record of any exemption requests.
Further discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion's passed. Next one, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny business tax interest exemption of $5,438.60 for par ID 0797740001 for Labrador Investments Limited.
Okay, moved by Councillor Rumbo to FAP that we deny business tax interest exemption for parcel 0797740001. Seconded by? Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy? Yes? You? Okay. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Contrary-minded? Motion's passed. Next motion, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $6,327.80 par ID 078998 for Labrador Investments Limited.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold to FAP that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest exemption on parcel 078998. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? None heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion is passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny business tax interest exemption of $6,673.92 par ID 0789980001 for Labrador Investments Limited.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that we deny business tax interest exemption for parcel 0789980001. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,006.86 par ID 257765 for Labrador Investments Limited.
It's been moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that we deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption on parcel 257765. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? All those in favour indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion's passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends Council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $1,006.86 for Power ID 257766 for Labrador Investments Limited.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that we deny property tax and water and sewer interest exemption for parcel 257766. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion? All those in favour indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion's passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends Council deny property tax and water sewer interest exemption of $3,889.70, Power ID 207890 for Labrador Investments Limited.
And is moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that we deny property tax, water and sewer interest exemption on parcel 207890. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? All those in favour indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion is passed. Next recommendation, please.
FAP Committee recommends Council deny tipping fee interest exemption of $347.42 for Labrador Investments Limited, customer code LABR.003.
It is moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that we deny tipping interest exemption for customer code LABR.003. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? All those in favour indicate with aye. Aye. Motion is passed. Just a point of order here. I'm going to declare conflict again because it deals with an issue at Snowflake Skating Club, and as I indicated previous to, my wife is Vice President.
Thank you. Let the minutes show that Mayor has left the meeting up in the gallery.
Okay.
Continue.
Ice Rental Relief Snowflake Figure Skating Club. The Finance, Admin and Policy Committee recommends Council deny the request to adjust the ice rental fee for the season of September 2022 to April 2023 for Snowflake Figure Skating Club, as there needs to be fairness across the youth groups, and the Figure Skating Club was advised before their season started about the new implemented ice rental rates.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold that the Ice Rental Relief Snowflake Figure Skating Club, the FAP, deny the request to adjust the ice rental fee for the season of 2022 to 2023 for this figure skating club, as there needs to be fairness across all groups. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Discussion.
Question, it says they were notified. Was their season late starting, or did they start in, do we know?
Start on time.
Did they start on time? And they were notified, but I wonder, did they have an opportunity to increase the registration fee so that they could, I don't know.
Yeah, they would have been notified when we did our rate change. We wanted to ensure that all rate changes were done well in advance so that any user groups would have the opportunity to plan accordingly.
Did they, in their letter, did they mention that they did not increase their registration fees to recoup this money? Or did he mention it?
They did increase them. They didn't increase them enough to cover the
Enough.
full change.
So, okay, yeah.
Discussion. Yeah, Councillor Broomfield, sorry.
When did we actually increase the fees for the overall? I thought it was in October though.
It was a budget item. Let me see if I can see.
September 1st, it became effective for the ice
Yeah, but
season.
when did we actually discuss it? I thought it was in October
January.
of this year.
No.
No,
Last
year
year. When we did our budgeting in January of
22.
20.
And the fees went from how much to how much?
It was the first tax increase in a significant amount of time. Let me just see if I
So
can see
you're up to
what we
$60
changed.
to 100.
65.22 to 100.
Yeah, $65.22 to $100 an hour.
So $40 difference for a small organization like Snowflake Figure Skating Club as opposed to a bigger sports organization. I'm not sure they're members, but if they didn't increase their registration fee enough, then I wouldn't know where the money would come from a small group like that, so.
Well, I'm in, like, when did they actually get a notification from the town that their fees are going up?
That winter. I don't remember if it was February or March, but it went
Would've
to
been
before
after
that
we
current
passed,
season was
yeah.
over.
But I thought we really didn't, I know we discussed it last year, but I thought we didn't increase none of the fees until this year.
You're right.
This budget, 2023.
We notified them the season before.
But we didn't increase them till the next season.
September 1st.
You
So
know-
we didn't say, okay, you're in the middle of a season, we're putting up your fees. We said, here's your advance notice that next season, your fees will be increased. But it wasn't like we made this decision in January and
But
said,
did we tell them how much was gonna be increased then?
the new policy would have been passed with the new rates. I don't know what the correspondence would
It'd
have.
make you wonder
They were
why.
sent out a copy of the policy as well as.
With the new rates
it was-
listed.
The new rates and the old rates were both on our website.
I would question why they wouldn't have put up their fees enough. I don't know, it's, but either way, I mean, obviously they don't have the money to cover it because they didn't increase them enough.
Councillor Pomeroy, did you have something?
Yeah, I mean, all fees are approved by council during the budgetary process. So if this came into effect last year, they would have had 8 months, 9 months to make that adjustment.
You're correct.
No, that's why I'm asking when did we actually increase the rates? I don't think it was until late October
It was October. We notified them in January
that we were gonna increase.
that we're going
them.
to, and we
but
didn't
we
do it
didn't tell
until
them how
October.
much, right?
It was
No, we
September
told them how
1st.
much, because we sent them the policy.
And the
with
question
it.
could be, they didn't wanna increase them too high to hit the pockets of the parents who, we don't know, they might
Yes,
have.
and that was discussed in finance, admin and policy, what we discussed. It's unfortunate that, like you say, we, citizens of this town, every one of us, when we go to the grocery store, we feel the pinch. When we, fill up our vehicles, we feel the pinch. Our town actually feels the same pinch. So the cost of operating has gone up with the cost of fuel and everything. So everything has unfortunately gone up, and it is regrettable, and I wish it wasn't the situation that we're living in right now, but the cost of everything has gone up. So when we made that decision in that budget to increase those fees, it was with the knowledge that it was the first increase in a significant amount of time, and that, our operating costs had increased as well.
I mean, I can't
Councillor
support
Pomeroy,
this
you had your hand
recommendation.
up.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, so I guess I would assume, one should never assume, but this applies to all user groups.
Yes.
And have there been any issues with other user groups in
If-
terms of,
There has been, we haven't been notified.
okay.
I wouldn't support this recommendation because if they're struggling now to pay this, they're gonna have to triple their registration fees next year to recoup last year. And that's my opinion, and they're a small group. I don't know how many skaters they have in their program, but they're very small next to minor soccer or minor hockey or, so I wouldn't support that.
Any further discussion? With there being no further discussion, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor indicate with aye. Those against? Motion denied. We can ask for Mayor to come back, join the meeting. Floor back to you, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we are requesting, adjusting the ice fee rentals, right?
Still?
No, this,
Or
council
just-
denied, but we,
You decide you're finished, let me know.
What's your question, Councillor Broomfield?
what we just voted on, ice rental relief, Snow Lake Figure Skating Club, the FMP committee recommends council deny the request. So we're approving this request. Yes, okay.
No,
No, the
you
motion was
voted against to deny, but that doesn't mean you voted
to
to approve
approve.
it.
It has to now go back some.
The committee recommends council deny the request to adjust their,
A majority voted to deny it.
No, Council voted against the motion was to deny. So you voted against the motion to deny, but that doesn't mean you voted to approve.
Right, yeah, I know, I understand that, but just what happened here then, we were defeated. It was, voted to deny.
No,
No, the vote was to deny the denial.
Yes, I understand that. Yeah.
Which leaves us with something to still resolve.
Yes, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Good, Mayor to come back. We're clear. Clear.
Okay. Property tax exemption, Amarok Golf Club. The FAP committee recommends council deny the request for property tax exemption for taxes and interest of $6,616.69 for 2022.
And again, Mayor, if I can.
Yes, second.
When I gets a seconder.
Oh,
It's been moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that we deny the request for property tax exemption for 2022. Seconded by
I'll second the motion.
Councillor Winters. Discussion. Councillor Compton Hobbs.
again, I just say that, this is an organization that struggled the past few years to get back up and running. We're all about promoting healthy, active living, so I cannot support this, this recommendation.
Councillor Winters? Did you?
No.
Oh, Councillor Rumbold, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to give council and the listening public some little bit more insight into this. So there was significant discussion. This was a really long meeting, and I've got a lot of recommendations, but there was significant discussion. This is an item that needs to be dealt with in some way or another, and the recommendation is to deny the request. However, you will have heard in my report, and the FAP committee spoke at length, that we are revisiting our not-for-profit organization policy. So when we made this recommendation, we made it because it is something that it's a business item that needs to be dealt with. But we want everybody around the table and everybody to be aware that our direction is to revisit the not-for-profit, I'm trying to read how I wrote it, the not-for-profit policy, and to come up with a plan that is fair and equitable to all not-for-profit organizations where we can provide some form of relief, but in a consistent basis, so that we're not dealing with things on a individual basis, and we just want it to be fair, clear, concise, consistent, and we really, the FAP committee has the hope that we will come up with a policy that fits those not-for-profit organizations and how best to define a not-for-profit in that manner.
Thank you. Councillor Broomfield.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Personally, I don't think any sports organization, whether it's this one or hockey or softball, I don't think they really qualify as a not-for-profit organization as we use it. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there an application in last month's meeting? And we denied it, but we were denying it because we were denying it, but then were going to have to submit something else for us to look at. Am I mistaken in that? So this is denying it again?
It came
No,
back
this
to...
is the next year.
This is the next
This
year.
is a
Okay.
different one.
They
Okay.
had to do
Councillor-
each application.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, no, it's a different year, Your Worship, and again, as Councillor Rumbold indicated, there is a process in place to look at developing a policy around non-profits and not-for-profits. My question would be, that can take quite some time, and in the meantime, do we still deal with these on a one-off basis? I think we have to.
Yep. Further discussion? My understanding of turning it down last time was We turned it down, but we couldn't approve anything, and they would have to resubmit with that in our request because we couldn't. But anyway, maybe I wasn't listening correctly. CO?
Just to
Yep.
clarify, I got the minutes here.
Yep.
So, this particular taxation year.
Yep.
The motion in January's meeting was to deny, and then the vote was against.
Against, correct.
So the motion was defeated
Right.
to deny, which is
Right.
why it came forward again.
Right.
So it's the same motion.
But
It's
it,
the
It's the
motion
same
again.
motion to
Right.
deny.
so,
So what has changed is that the FAP committee sat down and said, okay, we can't keep going, we can't keep spinning our wheels. So what we need to do is we need to come up with a clear and concise policy that would send the message to the Amarok Golf Club and other organizations like that as, we're not ignoring you, we're not forgetting you, we appreciate the value that you bring to our community, but until we have a clear, concise policy, and I know Councillor Pomeroy said we don't want it to drag it on, but we do have our SAT in this month. She is, or the instruction for her was to move forward with looking at other similar municipalities so that we can come up with a policy that fits.
so if I look at Gander, for instance, and I did this afternoon, they show a list of organizations that will be tax exempt. It's in there, and there's
And
various
that's what we want to do.
organizations.
We want to visit
Okay.
similar municipalities.
Councillor Brumfield.
Yeah, but how I interpret what you just said there is, you're not gonna stop until they get what they want.
Okay, so any further discussion? All right, so we have the recommendation. Any further discussion? Okay, none being heard, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of denying this request indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Aye. So we have defeated it again. So, I'm not sure what that means, but, you know, I think we really need to work on that policy, and I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. I think it's just a matter of getting it done and getting time to do it, so.
Yeah, I just want to note that,
Yep.
I mean, it has gone on too long, so we really need to move
Yep.
forward. If this
Yep.
is being denied, then something has to change.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree. So hopefully next month we'll have the something maybe closer. All right. So we are at letter F.
Yes.
Your next recommendation.
Your worship, I'm going to remove myself
yeah.
from this particular motion.
Okay.
As the housing hub is a building that's run by my employer.
Fully understand. The joys of living in a small town. Everybody's intertwined with the organization. So have the minutes indicate that Councillor Palmer has put himself in conflict and clear conflict in this issue due to an employee relationship. All right. The floor is yours, Councillor Rumbold.
Okay. Business tax exemption housing hub. FAP committee recommends council deny business tax and interest exemption for the housing hub par ID 0799720001 for tax years 2019 to 2022 in the amount of $19,737.77.
So it's moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that council deny the business tax and interest exemption for the housing hub for tax years 2019, 2022. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion.
Just curious, did they send a letter of why they might?
Not sure.
Hardships or reasonings or?
Would there be any correspondence in the file?
Be all in the package.
Sorry, did you?
Yeah, I got
Do you okay? You got a question or a comment on that?
well, question, I guess.
Okay, we'll just yeah. Can you answer her question?
I did read the letter in the package.
Okay, so
Oh, okay, well, if you've read the letter, then.
You can
But
refresh me
yeah,
if there was
for
something.
the listening public, it just says that they are housed within a rented space, and they mention no hardship. They mention no. No, it doesn't say. It just says, please accept this package on behalf of us in applying for exemption for the years 2019 to 2022 respectively.
Councillor Brumfield.
Okay, I'd like to make a couple comments, excuse me, on this one. First, I really don't think the national government is in the business of making money off of this. My understanding, like all this happened before our time when they took over the housing hub. I get the impression if they walk away, no one else is going to run the housing hub. That's my first comment. The next comment, if you look at the financial statements, the source of the revenue comes from Newfoundland and Labrador Housing. It's not like people walk in and pay and stay there. This is come basically a quasi-government organization that's paying them to do them a favor.
So then wouldn't it be understandable that Newfoundland and Labrador Housing would be responsible for paying that amount?
Yeah.
Has this amount been paid? Is this in arrears or has it been paid? It is in arrears. But I mean, if the contribution to running the building is property tax, then wouldn't that be covered?
That's what I was
Councillor
trying to get at
Hobbs?
earlier. Did they write any?
Yeah.
Did they write any hardship letters or, like, really, who is it, NG, or is it Newfoundland Labrador Housing Corp, or?
Not sure who the letter came from. Yep, Councillor Rumbold.
So the letter came to council or to committee from New Naziavut government. And again, it does not specifically reference hardship. They did attach financial statements. In the financial statements, there is a line that says insurance and taxes, but when asked for clarity, I think they indicated that they weren't referring to property taxes, they were referring to other types of taxes.
It's not property, it's business.
So,
It's the business tax, I guess.
or sorry.
Because they're property
Or
tax.
not referring to
That's a
business
lease space
taxes.
anyway, right?
That was the
Yeah,
split bond,
rented
yeah.
space. Yeah.
So it says taxes, but they say that that's not the taxes that they were referring to.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I just want to add, like, the hub probably gets an operating grant, but I wouldn't think they're responsible for property tax.
No, property tax will be covered because it's a leased building, but it would be business tax.
Business.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All right, none being heard. All those in favor, I'm just trying to make sure I got this right now. All those in favor of denying the business tax and interest exemption for the parcel 0799720001 indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Contrary-minded? Thank you. Motion is passed. Next, oh, sorry, sir. Councillor Palmer is returning to the chamber. Next recommendation, please.
Court proceeding, JP Forestry. The FAP committee recommends the town proceed with legal action via the Supreme Court to collect an outstanding debt and to include all costs associated, including legal fees.
All right, so it's moved by Councillor Umbro to the FAP committee that town proceed with legal action via Supreme Court to collect an outstanding debt of JP Forestry. Seconded by? Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Discussion. Sorry, didn't see your hand. Yep,
Point of
Councillor Umbro.
reference, Mayor, just to let council know that this is in regard to tipping fees and interest, correct? That's,
Yeah.
yeah. So tipping fees and interest, outstanding debt.
Yep.
And this is-
So again, it's a move that council has chosen to proceed if this goes through, but it's just a fact that this is a debt that's owed to town. It's a considerable amount of money, and needs to be paid. So we'll seek legal action in terms of recovering the funds. All those in favor? Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Next recommendation, please.
Policy Edition A0036. The FAP Committee recommend Council amend Policy A0036, Delegation for Issuance of Permits for Fireworks and Posting Permit Information to include Fire Protection Officer.
All right, so it's moved by Councillor Rumbold, through FAP, that we're amending our policy A0036, which is the delegation for issuance of permits for fireworks and posting permit information. Seconded by?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion. And this is just basically realigning our policy to include, as a result of the MEO not being on staff at the present time. Further discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion is passed. Next Recommendation, please.
Policy Edition A0047. The FAP Committee recommends Council approve Policy A0047-1, Code of Conduct, Municipal Officials, as presented in your council package.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold through FAP that Council will approve new policy 00, or I guess an amended policy 0047-1, Code of Conduct Municipal Officials. Seconded by?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Discussion. Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, I think this is a good policy. That's it's unfortunate that it wasn't in place a long time ago, but it's a good move forward, and I think it will clarify a lot of things and make things more clear for everybody.
Yep, I agree fully. It's a set of rules now that councillors, municipal officials have to abide by in terms of the I guess respectful workplace and conducting themselves. And I guess to follow this one will be a code of conduct that our staff officials will have to go by as well. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate. Oh, sorry, never saw. I was looking the other way. Councillor Brumfield.
Just a nitpick, I don't know if it's nitpicking. On the very first page of your policy you're proposing, in the application, it says, for the purpose of this code of conduct, municipal official is defined to mean a chief administrative officer, an employee, or any person with or without remuneration under the direction of municipality, including whatever, right, firefighters and whatever. I don't think we're including councillors in this one.
Councillors have their own one, right? Yeah.
This is a separate one.
This is the one, yeah, I referred to, sorry, as it being the council one. This is the one for municipal officials, correct? Yeah. And anyone who's interacting with the town in terms of on our committees and that kinds of stuff. Yeah. Thank you for that. All those in favor, any further discussion, sorry? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion is passed. And we have the last recommendation from Councillor Rumbold's committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Appointment of consulting services for the development of strategic plan. The FAP Committee recommends the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay appoint Capital Park Consulting for the development of the town's strategic plan.
Moved by Councillor Rumbold and the FAP Committee that we appoint the company Capital Park Consulting for developing our continuing town strategic plan. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion? Councillor Pomeroy.
Did we get, how many quotes did we get on that? We went to two, and what was the amount that was?
So the town staff used a scoring system. I believe it was a very insignificant difference between the two, but I will get that for you. I'm scrolling.
Someone else is scrolling too.
CAO is trying to beat me to it.
Yeah.
There was a lot to it. I'm hoping she has it faster than I do.
We should have the amount in the motion too, I think.
It was in our council. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So, both proposals were similar in price range, $47,120, and the other one was $48,998.75, which was a difference of $1,878.75 between the two proposals.
Thank you.
And of course, our strategic plan, looking forward to involving the community severely into how our town will look in the future, because it makes our job a lot easier that if the community designates a strategic plan or works to develop a strategic plan, then the resources, time and energy, financial and human, actually go towards that strategic plan. So it makes things good. So I encourage, as that process will evolve, and from all indications it will involve a consultative process with the public. So that will be great.
Your Worship? Just,
yes, sir.
No, I totally agree. I think this is something, the current one expired at the end of
2023.
So the timing is good, and it will certainly help guide us.
Yep. Any further discussion?
Just to add, when you do host a public consultation, there's usually a good interest from previous years, so hopefully we'll get the same interest.
And hopefully we'll have varied types of consultative process, so you don't have to come and stand in front of a mic or look around something. You'll have an option. So I'm looking forward to that process. So yeah, by all means, get involved. Any further discussion? Up, Councillor Brumfield.
We don't have a dollar figure down there, no, right?
She just read it there. That's why I asked. Yeah.
I can read it again.
Yeah.
It is, $48,998.75.
Yep. We should include that. Okay, you good? Or
Well, where is this company from?
Capital Park Consulting, their home base is in Ottawa, Ontario. So we had issued an RFP in December, and we received 2 proposals prior to our deadline. And so then we reviewed them, and like I said, they were both similar in price range, and the management used a scoring system, and I know myself as FAP, and I think it went out to the other members, to actually, we looked at their website and their details, and
their strategic plans were for some other municipality? Did someone,
Yeah.
that's what they do, right? So,
Yeah, but my issue there is someone from, excuse me, from outside the Atlantic provinces are not going to be in tune with what's really going on in Atlantic Canada, I don't think.
oh, that's an option.
They-
unfortunately, no proposals were received
Yeah.
from firms within the province,
Yeah.
and actually no firms within Atlantic Canada either.
But I think it's important.
Homes Halifax.
Yeah. I think it's important.
Oh, sorry, yes,
yeah,
there was.
I think it's important that, we guide our own strategic plan, but you need a facilitator and an expert to get us thinking outside of that small bubble. So, when you see things like, our transit plan is coming, that kinds of stuff to get us, in that mindset. And I think this facilitator will do that. And it is within budget too, right? So that was good. And we do need it. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate with aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, so we get them hitting the ground with their boots running. All right, that's it for you. Okay. So what else? Municipal services. Pass the chair over to Councillor Winters.
Thank you, Mayor. Municipal Services Committee met on February 15th. Meeting was called to order at 12:06. Present were Chair Councillor Winters, Councillor Hayward Brumfield, Councillor Denise Rumbold, Engineer Randy Dillon, Superintendent Water Works and Services Keith Pye, Superintendent Public Works Randy Chambers, Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy, and Regret CAO Linda Newcott. There was review of previous minutes and action items, and there were no errors and omissions. Manager's report was given, water and sewer reports were given, engineering reports were attached. I gotta step in for a second.
Okay, Mr. Good. You good? You want someone else to?
Do you want me to continue on?
Yep.
Yeah, that's no.
Do you have the report or?
I was at the meeting, but I didn't have a report.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay. So I am going to go to the minutes of that meeting that I was in attendance to. So, we reviewed the manager's reports. We received updates on the road scraping and snow blowing. That's currently cluing up in the valley, or at that time was cluing up in the valley, and they were heading to another section of town. They gave us an update on tipping fees, depot maintenance, the current sand load count, which was up just a little from last year. Water and sewer, the manager's report was presented, and everything is in maintenance phase. There are no major issues. The engineering report was presented, and it was identified that deficiency corrections are ongoing for the Central Labrador YMCA. Progress is being made with the duct socks. We're waiting for an updated list. With respect to deficiencies at the Broomfield Arena, the electrical deficiencies are being contracted out, and there was discussion about the heating issue at the arena, which the engineer will follow up on. So that one, I think, came through
CPD.
from CPD. So it was also discussed. So some of these items will cross committees. And so, just so that everybody knows, it's been discussed multiple times. New business, there was discussion on replacement of a landfill fuel tank, and a recommendation is to follow. There was discussion of a residential noise complaint, and a recommendation will follow on that as well. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March the 7th, and being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 12:54 p.m.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rumbold. Yeah, sure, papers there. Pass me. Yep. All right, we'll get them back this way.
Apologize.
So moved by Councillor Winters and Rumbold that we accept the Municipal Services Committee report as presented. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we've accepted reports. You have some recommendations, sir?
Yes, there are two. Number one, replacement of landfill fuel tank. Municipal Services Committee recommends council purchase the Transcube tank to replace the current fuel tank at the town's landfill.
Okay, moved by Councillor Winters through the Municipal Services Committee that we purchase a Transcube tank for the current and replace the current fuel tank at the landfill. Seconded by?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion. Is it a budgeted item?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? We've purchased a fuel tank. Next recommendation, sir.
Residential noise complaint. The Municipal Services Committee recommends council approve construction of a sound dampening barrier at the air intake of the water waste treatment plant, and that staff then confer with resident and record conclusions.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Winters through Municipal Services that we recommend to approve, construction of a sound dampening barrier at the water treatment plant air intake. Seconded by?
I'll second that.
Oh. I'll take either Councillor Compton Hobbs. We'll take Councillor Compton Hobbs because I heard her first. All right, discussion. This is I'll beat you too. This is an issue that came up several months ago, and I'm glad to see that we're taking some action because I actually visited this person's home, and the one person that it is, and I don't know if it's geography, I don't know what it is, so there has to be an engineering fix, so I'm glad to see we're making some headway. Councillor Pomeroy, then
Yes,
Councillor Rumble.
yes, Mayor, this has actually been going on for about 5 years or more. I've gotten constant complaints from the same individual, and he's lived in probably 3 houses in that neighborhood in the 5 years and still hears the noise. I hadn't heard it much, but at times it is really loud.
Yep.
And maybe because I'm not home as much as he is, or he's on the go earlier in the morning or whatever, that issue came up. We actually, I believe the town has a decibel reader that was purchased to check the noise levels in that area, whether it's been used or not. I don't know if the town engineer could respond to that.
Well,
Yes, Councillor, Superintendent did go around various areas in that particular subdivision and so on, and down further, closer to the wastewater treatment plant. And he did monitor different decibel readings. Now, there was nothing out of the ordinary in the way of OHS requirements or something, but like you say, depending upon the the way the winds are probably going that day and the humidity and so on, it kind of funnels up through that area in particular where he lives. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
It sounds like transmissions on the poles.
yeah, and it's
constant hum, right?
it's puzzling that there have been, but other complaints, because the evening we were up there, former Councillor Bennett and I were up there. It was very predominant, right? Councillor Rumbold.
Just wanted to make mention that during our meeting, the municipal services staff and the superintendent in particular were very engaged and very actively want to work to come up with a solution. So they're the people that are there, like the guys that are in the wastewater treatment plant and the superintendent himself. So the fact that they're saying, okay, well, let's try this and let's get the residents' feedback and then we'll go from there. It just, I think that there was a level of engagement from the staff that was commendable, because they could have just said, well, you know, we've got a meter and it's not showing, and thrown their hands up in the air, and they're not. And so this is step one. Do we know if this is going to work, if the sound dampening barrier is going to work? No, we don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try it. So just the fact that they're able to try things is, to me, it just shows that the residents' concerns are being heard.
Oh, no, and that's the most important part. And the other side is, I mean, it is an engineered feature, and I'm sure it's not the only type structure, but I know that particular noise probably, you know, wouldn't be in a subdivision or something closer than what we have. Councillor Compton House.
I just wanted to say I'm happy to see this come forward tonight too. It may not work, but it may. We don't know. But there is several residents up in that area that are impacted, and we've heard it too in previous years. So hopefully this will work, and I'm happy to see it come forward.
No pressure to our engineer.
Well, we'll see what happens.
All right. So we got to vote on that, I guess. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we've passed that. So let us move to protective services. And pass the floor over to my good friend at the end.
Thank you,
Councillor
Mayor.
Palmer. Oh, sorry. Oh, you got one more? Do you have another one, sir?
A new one?
Oh,
Multi-year capital works. Okay,
okay, sorry.
all right.
I didn't get that one.
2020, 2023 multi-year capital program. The Municipal Services Committee recommends that the revised list of projects appended, which now includes funds for pumping sprinkler system upgrades at the Lawrence O'Brien Center, be forwarded to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure for its consideration for approval. The total provincial funds approved under this program are $2,044,698.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's moved by Councillor Winters that we amend the list of multi-year capital works projects, and we send to the province to include pumping sprinkler system upgrades at the Lawrence O'Brien Arts Centre. Seconded by?
I'll second it.
Okay, I grab Councillor Rumbold down here. Discussion. I thought for a second that the repairs were $2 million. Whew, sorry.
That's what I was
Yeah,
just clarifying.
Deb's Mirror.
Could you confirm the exact amount that the sprinkler system will cost to repair?
Well, at this stage, we're in the process of getting, we need to go out for an RFP for a limited call to find out exactly what the engineering cost is going to be. And then from there, we have to, depending upon the results of the investigation, then we have to go to tender. So this amount here, 125,000, hopefully it can be adjusted either up or down depending upon on what the results of the investigation is.
Rough estimate, over 100,000?
A rough estimate right now, depending if we need to replace the fire pump, if we need to replace some of the electrical work, it could easily get over 100,000. So I figured that was the best figure we could use at this time.
Okay. Okay, Councillor Palmer?
Yeah, just a question for the town engineer. So is this to replace what's there, or I know we had a
don't know.
problem there with some water damage, but
Yeah.
didn't insurance
Well,
cover that?
The insurance is covering the actual damages caused by the water damage. But this is going to, we know that there's an issue with the pumping and the size of the fire pump and so on. So this is going to complete the investigation, get the preliminary engineering done, and come up with a recommendation for future upgrades. Now, in the meantime, I also have a sprinkler technician waiting on a cost for him to come in and do some immediate repairs so that we can actually get the sprinkler system in operation temporarily until we get the full investigation completed.
And I see from the O'Brien's page that they've worked with the fire inspector to come up with a solution that works so they can get the center back open,
Yeah.
which is good. So quicker we can get this done, the better.
No, exactly, yeah.
Further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the plan here to amend it, indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? All right, motion is passed. Okay, sorry. Now we're good with that? I'll send now the floor to Councillor Pomeroy for protective services.
Thank you, Mayor. Protective Services Committee met on February 16th. The President were myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace, Councillor Captain Hobbs, Chief Administrative Officer Nadine McCauley, Director of Protective Services Brad Butler, and Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. Meeting was called to order at 12:08 p.m. We reviewed the previous meeting minutes, and there were no errors or omissions. During the meeting, we reviewed the monthly RCMP report. I just want to note that the local detachment here responded to a total of 378 occurrences, which were classified as calls for service during the month of January, compared to 361 for the same period last year. A total of 82 people were incarcerated for a variety of offenses during the month of January. Committee also discussed the need to meet with the RCMP on a more regular basis. I should note that Staff Sergeant Kenny is expected to attend the March Protective Services meeting, at which time we'll work on a schedule that we can meet more regularly. A breakdown of the police activity for the month is included in your package. Director of Protective Services, Chief Brad Butler, presented his report and noted that up to the time of the committee meeting, there had been 15 emergency calls for assistance. He also noted that all fire apparatus is fully serviceable. With respect to fire department equipment, the breathing air compressor is due for annual inspection, which can be performed by the town mechanic. Flashlights, radios, and cascade bottles have been ordered as required, and the fire inspection officer has completed 17 new inspections, 5 follow-up inspections, and 1 home-based business inspection. Departmental training is ongoing, and currently have 7 firefighter 1s aiming to be certified this summer. Manager's report also included the monthly municipal enforcement stats from Valley Communications, as well as a list of dilapidated and derelict buildings. Committee agreed that the list needs to be updated and decisions made on how to move forward to deal with these public eyesores, and in a lot of cases, public safety concerns as well. The animal control report for January was reviewed. Should note that the animal control officer has drafted a live trap rental agreement and currently awaiting legal advice before finalizing, and we expect to have that completed by our March committee meeting for council's consideration at the next public meeting. Committee also discussed issues around security and public safety, and in light of being advised by the Minister of Provincial and Municipal Affairs that while the province understands the importance of continuing with security presence within the town, the department cannot approve a request for additional funding. Special assistance funding that was provided in July of 2022 was for an emergent, non-budgeted expense at the time. The Minister also noted that in the special assistance letter issued in July 2022, town was advised that if these expenditures are anticipated to continue into the 2023 year, they should be included as operational expenses in the town's 2023 budget and funded through that process. Committee agreed that there's still a demand for these services, but the town is in no position to cover the cost, and suggested staff look for other pots of funding. With respect to municipal enforcement position, it was mentioned here earlier tonight, committee questioned when the position would be filled. The CAO advised that a meeting of council to present legal advice and other information related to the position so that direction can be provided on which way to proceed before a job description is updated accordingly and reviewed. And I understand that meeting is taking place on Thursday. There were no recommendations. Next committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 15th. With that, I move that the Protective Services Committee report be accepted as read.
It's moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we accept the Protective Services Committee as presented, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion.
Mayor, just wanted to say, Councillor Pomeroy briefly touched on public safety, and we had a delegation here tonight, and going forward, we don't have anything in place, but we certainly need to have a serious discussion because we all know what's coming in the next couple of months when the weather warms up, and are we ready? Absolutely not. So whether it's a municipal concern or provincial concern, we need to deal with it. And I don't know, I wasn't here when you had your meetings with Minister Hogan, but it might be time to get Minister Hogan back around the table.
So, just, yeah, just if I could, can we direct it to his report? Save your comments in terms of, for Councillor's forum. We'll just try to get his report done, then from there, then you can have,
Sure,
we can
yeah,
have conversation.
so I just
Yep.
wanted to reiterate that
Yep.
public safety is a big concern in
Yep.
the community. And
Absolutely.
as he mentioned in his report, that we need to stay on top of it.
Yep, no question, yep, and we can continue your comments. So, moved by, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion on the report? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. You have no recommendations. Did you want to bring that back up in terms of public safety? Did you want to make a comment about public safety? No, on Councillor Compton House.
No,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I think a big key of that is going to be where we see our MEO collectively as a group fitting in, and then absolutely, because I don't think it's going to be the summer. I think it's going to be sooner than the summer. So, I think yeah, no question. All right. Protective Services, no recommendations from your committee, right, sir? No. Okay. Approval of checks, and pass it over to Councillor Rumbold again.
Thank you, Mayor. For the month of February 2023, and this is from the 1st to the 28th, I would like to recommend that we approve checks payable in the amount of
As just a point of order, there are several of our councillors that are on the thing from in
okay.
advance, so I think that
Should I
it would
pass
be
it?
it would be cognitive, yeah, for
Okay.
us, and then we would remove ourselves, correct?
Okay.
From that,
so
this check's issued to
FA
councillors in terms of the advances for trip to Ottawa.
Okay,
So.
so FAP is myself and. I can give it to, I can just pass it to, no, she's FAP, yes. So, straight to Councillor Broomfield?
Please note that.
You're in charge.
So I'm just basically bringing the total, right? I don't have to worry about
The
the.
total amount, yeah, but
Yes.
because there are payables to
That's right.
some members.
We should probably mention that they've declared a conflict because they're on the list.
Yeah,
Councillor what?
They're on the list
Oh, yeah,
of checks, so
yeah.
due to travel, so they have declared a conflict.
Okay,
yeah,
so-
there's 3 checks there that are there for the
Yeah.
mayor, the deputy mayor, and well, that's why they removed themselves as,
Okay, so good evening, folks. I'm back here now under my old chair as the FAP committee. I had to take over this one, present this here, the checks, because we had 3 councillors who are listed there as receivers of checks. So I'm here to recommend the checks for the month of February. I recommend that the council approve the checks totaling $981,413.77 for the month of February 2023.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
any discussion?
Okay.
Just one question. I know there was one item added on at the end, but there's no information with that?
We receive general for taxes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, any more discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Councillor Mines, none heard. Motion passed.
Thank you, Councillor Broomfield.
You're welcome.
Get a chance to warm up.
All right, and before we move into Councillor's Forum, it's been a busy evening here this evening, but I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting, and I just want to express council, management, staff of the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay's heartfelt condolences to the War family. Charles War, Charlie as everybody knew it, or Mr. War for most of us, was a former deputy mayor and was elected and sits on our wall up here to the third council of the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay. So huge builder within our community, and I think will be very sadly missed within the community. So our heartfelt condolences out to his family, and as well, if I want to turn to my right, heartfelt condolences to the deputy mayor who lost her grandmother a few days ago, and our thoughts and prayers are with you for that as well. So, all right, let's move into Councillor's Forum. We've been here a long time this evening, so I'll pass it. I'll go wishy-washy. Councillor Brumfield.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to keep it short today.
Okay.
Getting late. For the information of councillors, fellow councillors, and everyone in the community, I was appointed to the combined councils of Labrador Executive Committee back last fall. We have been trying to get a meeting set up ever since then. And there's myself and 5 other members on the board, and we have 1 employee, executive director. We've been having a hard time getting everybody together, getting things moving. We have finally got something together. We're going to be having a meeting amongst the executive only on March the 30th in Happy Valley Goose Bay. And there we're going to discuss what has to be done to get the combined council up and moving again, because it's a very important organization that really advances the interests of all of Labrador. And right now we do have a number of interests on the go, such as the road to the north coast, the road connecting south coast of Labrador to northern Quebec, and so on, right? So I'm hoping this will be a start in the right direction, and to see where we're going to go, what we're going to do in terms of employee situation, that kind of stuff, and where we'll be located. And the most important one is we do have to work on having an AGM, which again has not happened over 3 years because of COVID. So other than that, that's really all I had to say, and hope wish all the competitors for the Labrador Winter Games coming up next week all the best. I won't be here to see it, I'll be out of town. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Brumfield. I'm going to go across the table, seeing that we brought up Winter Games, to Councillor Winters.
Sure, I have 2 things on, Mayor, thanks, Mayor. I have 2 things, just to condolences, like you said, to Charlie War. I knew the family very well, and just with Sandy and Greg and Chris and Dee, my sincere condolences, and to Deputy Mayor Wallace and lost your grandma. Also, yeah, again, I just looked earlier when I got in at Councillor Hobbs' earrings.
I was going to mention that.
Nice Labrador Winter Games earrings. It's a very exciting time as chair. It's very busy. A lot of late nights, a lot of long meetings, but I think we're coming together. And as chair, stepping away from my councillor's position as chair of the Winter Games, I can't thank the town enough, the management and staff, for what you do for these games, because without town, they wouldn't happen. And that will be seen now throughout the games when they start. The use of the facilities, the use of staff, the extra effort that everyone puts in for these games is pretty exciting. So, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Rumbold.
I don't want to be repetitive because, I know everybody's got their things to add. So I'm going to leave off a few things because I know that the sentiments that are expressed are on behalf of the entire council. What I wanted to mention was 2 things mainly. The first one being the Northern Lights Trade Show that was attended by some of us for representing the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay. It was a fabulous, fabulous conference. It was the first one post-COVID. Hats off to Julianne Griffin and the entire team at the Labrador North Chamber of Commerce because they did a fabulous job. For us as representatives of the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay, we got the opportunity to make some valuable connections, to meet with some folks and have some discussions that it's just nice to be in a room face-to-face with people again. And one of the things that we had the opportunity to do, and I'm going to mention his name a couple of times because our MHA Trimper is here this evening in the gallery, and so Minister Trimper facilitated the opportunity for us to visit the Turkish embassy.
MHA, Trimper.
MHA, sorry, MHA.
You know
See, it's
something
been
we
a
don't know?
really long night, and I've said a lot. But yeah, MHA Trimper facilitated the opportunity for council to visit the Turkish embassy, and so it started out as going to be a happy meeting because our electric bus that we have ordered is coming from a Turkish company. So we were on a high note, and then this horrible tragedy struck Turkey with the earthquakes and the significant losses. And it ended up being something where we were in attendance to sign a book of condolences. And still to this day, our condolences go out to the people of Turkey and everything that they're going through, and meeting with the ambassador and seeing how just the love and compassion that came through for his people. So that was quite the meeting to have. And also, through MHA Trimper, we had just a couple of days ago, just here in council chambers, we had a little, I don't want to say ceremony, but we had a little, yeah, I guess it was a ceremony to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine. And we were able to have community partners through the Ministerial Association, the Wing, and the, most importantly, the Ukrainian families themselves. And I think everybody who was here in attendance, it was both heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. So the resiliency of the people of Ukraine, their determination, their faith that, and their hope that 1 year will not extend into 2, that this war will end very soon. So we, again, we commiserate with them and we support them in any way we can. So that was very, two things that I wanted to highlight on, because Happy Valley Goose Bay is a small town, but we are definitely impacted and we definitely feel for the larger world issues, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that our hearts and thoughts are with them.
Okay, go to this side. Councillor Palmer was looking at me.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I just want to add my condolences as well to the family of Charlie Ward. As you know, Mr. Ward was a pillar in our community. He moved here from St. John's in 1958 and spent time before that articling in pharmacy. When he arrived here, he took a job as a salesman with the Hudson Bay Company in the store in the valley. And then his father, who frequented here quite often as a salesperson himself, convinced him to go back to pharmacy school and get his degree. So in 1960, he returned to St. John's. He went to night school, and in the summer of '64, he married Sandra Wiley, and the newlyweds moved to Happy Valley Goose Bay, where they worked day and night to open the drugstore, which today continues to be a successful family business. And I guess the rest, they say, is history. And he will be missed. He was a builder and a leader and an advocate, and contributed greatly to our community. I also want to give a shout out to the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers. This grassroots group is helping to keep tons of material out of our landfill on an annual basis. Everything from cardboard, paper products, plastic containers, tin cans, and so on. Just in our household alone, just by contributing to this program, the amount of garbage being sent to the landfill for my house has been well cut in half. So as a town, I think we should be supportive, very supportive as much as we can, and probably even more so than we are now to this group, because what they're contributing to our community and basically removing all this from the landfill is it's great for a bunch of volunteers. Just want to touch a little bit on communications as well. I think we've all heard from people in the public, whether it's through social media or at the store or wherever we go, people say, well, what's going on with the town? We don't hear anything. Everything is quiet. You know, and I know we don't engage in social media, and for good reason. You know, there's a time and a place for that. Should not be debating council business in social media, and I totally agree with that. But I do think we need to take a little bit more proactive approach to get more messages out to the public in some way or another, whether it's through traditional means of communications. We'll have to discuss that, but we need to be more proactive in doing that. I mean, effective communications is important in all aspects of every business that you run, so it needs to be incorporated in the town as well. So quite simply, I mean, communications management is the process that brings three elements together. It's the message, the medium, and the audience. And right now, I think there's something missing there, and we got to try to figure that out. So what does work is not always effective. So I think as a council, we need to start being more proactive and have a full discussion on how we move forward and how to improve communications with the public. I'll go back to public safety. There was a delegation here tonight. It's great to see a delegate. It's great to see people showing up in the chambers when they're when the community's engaged. It's good to see. And but in terms of public safety, I think this issue is a very, very serious issue. I'm sure we all do. We've had serious, a lot of serious crimes taking place in our neighborhoods. Like, parents are afraid to let their children go outside. extreme violence and assaults happening all the time. I've witnessed it myself in my own neighborhood. People are scared. They're turning to us for help. I'm having knocks on my door and saying, you know, what's the town going to do? And really, I know the town can't do anything from that point of view, but I think we need to be pushing a little harder to the provincial government to work with the town to have increased enforcement in our community. And it's not all about rounding people up and throwing them in jail. Or, I mean, if you look out the window and you see an RCMP vehicle driving down the road, it's a little sense of security that they're in their neighborhood. Because 10 minutes later, you could be hauling another body out of somebody's house. And so I think we need to be, we need to demand with the province that public safety is a very important issue in our community. It's gotten worse since 2012. The figures will speak for themselves, the RCMP stats. And, one can attribute it to the increase in drugs that came to our community, hard drugs, as a result of Muskrat Falls, and the social impacts were never addressed. Were actually swept under the rug by the province at the time. And we are now seeing the consequences of that. And so I think as a town we need to be pushing the province to put adequate resources in place so that the RCMP can do their jobs more effectively. And stand with the residents. People want to feel safe in our community, and that's not the feeling they have right now. And they need us to be leading the way and being soundboards for them, but also pushing our provincial counterparts to do what's right and to make people feel at ease, because that's their job. So I will leave it at that, Your Worship. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Compton-Hobbs.
Okay, so I want to send condolences to the War family too. Everybody said everything good about Mr. War already, but I'll add on that while I was campaigning over the years, I went in to visit him, and he was a wealth of information from years ago. And I was there for a very long time, and I didn't want to leave because it was so interesting. But yeah, like, he told me a lot of information, and he was a huge contributor to the community. And I do know that he was, as you all know, he was big sports athletic. He was involved with hockey and softball. And him and the other Husky hockey players were involved with the development of Husky Park back in 1969. So, condolences to Sandy, Chris, Greg, and Dee, and, hang on to the memories of Mr. War for sure. He had a lot to offer. I asked about Northern Lights. Denise, Councilor Rumble briefly touched on it. I know there was some meetings. I think his name was MP Blair, maybe around search and rescue, maybe with the Premier there was a meeting. There were some tours of the Oaks, the electric bus. I saw this on social media, so I don't know, but if there's any information that could, we should know about as a council, it would be, appreciated. So I asked about a report, but I was told to ask here in the councillors forum what happened at the Northern Lights, so hopefully someone will enlighten us. I want to wish the judo athletes well. We got 4 athletes out representing us in the Canada Games, so wish them well. Men's and ladies broomball are traveling to the provincials in Stephenville this weekend, so wish them well. Kane's Quest, good luck to all the racers. I wouldn't want to be doing it. They're pretty brave. And that's starting on Saturday, so we'll all be glued to our screens, I'm sure, watching what's going on out there, because it's pretty interesting over the week. Labrador Winter Games is starting, so I wish all the athletes good luck, have fun, be safe, and may the best community get the most points and win. I too had communication jotted down. I'm still hearing, we're not hearing nothing from the council. We need improvement in communication, and I think there's ways too that we can work together to improve our communication to the public, and that's probably something we need to start working on. I don't know what committee it might fall under or where it might fall. We may need a separate meeting, but we definitely need to work together to come up with a better way to communicate to the public. Public safety, I briefly touched on it while Councilor Pomeroy was reading his report. Again, we're gonna see issues come quickly. I would say within the next, with winter games and so on, but in saying that, we have issues in our own community, that the public safety, it's a big concern. We need to address it somehow, along with the provincial government. And I said earlier, I know you had meetings with Minister Hogan and whoever back in the fall, and it may be time to sit back with Minister Hogan again, because, we need to deal with this somehow, and it needs to be addressed. And hopefully with our municipal enforcement officer, it will help. And I also heard too, Councilor Pomeroy briefly touched on it, but when they saw the municipal enforcement officer driving down streets around town, people felt, safer in their area. So it do make a difference. So we need more of that. I want to send out a shout out to Howling Huskies. They have 10 athletes participating in the Winter Games. So, all the best to the 10 athletes. They really enjoy it. I like getting out watching them because they're just so overjoyed with being involved, and I'm looking forward to going out and watching them again. I had been approached about long-term care here, and I just want to bring this up in the council forum that we need to look at this more closely with LGH, because we have residents that are being sent away to Mary's Harbor, Lab West, as far as Roddington, with no family out there. And, we need to sit down with LGH and bring this forward and have a discussion. We can't have our family members being sent away from their family with no connection whatsoever. I know we got a shortage of beds, but, we need to bring it to the forefront so that, just to have that discussion. And I meant to say earlier, Deputy Mayor Wallace, condolences to your family too.
Oh, thank
I
you.
knew you as younger, and I knew your grandma a little bit, but condolences to your family. And that's it for me, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hobbs. Deputy Mayor Wallace.
I was thinking you forgot about me.
No, what? No.
Thoughts and prayers, of course, to the War family as they journey through this difficult time. We wish them strength and courage, and we'll all treasure the memories of Mr. Charles War for sure. Hats off and a big thank you to our Labrador North Chamber of Commerce and all those involved in the 2023 Northern Lights in Ottawa. As a first-time attendee, I thoroughly enjoyed the conference. Meeting other councils, governments, businesses, and locals from our northern neighboring communities is how we grow, how we learn, and especially gain knowledge from one another. Labrador Winter Games are right around the corner, and I'd like to send a huge shout out to Councillor Winters as chair, of course, and all board members, committee chairs, and volunteers for their hard work and countless hours of dedication. We are on the home stretch and look forward to hosting an unforgettable Labrador Winter Games, so well done. Congratulations to all players and coaches from the MMC basketball teams who traveled to Lab City this past weekend and played at regionals. We're very proud of your conduct on and off the court, and are proud of how you represent our local high school. 2 silvers, 2 golds. Way to go, guys. Congratulations, especially these 4 local judo athletes who've been representing our area in Team Newfoundland Labrador at the Canada Games currently happening in PEI at the moment. We wish them all the best of luck and enjoy every moment of their experience. Ty Dyson, Rob Alvarez, Bryden Swain, and Raymond Kearney. Judo is just a small part of what these boys are experiencing, and it will be something they'll remember a lifetime for sure. Melville Mantas are hosting their time trials this weekend at the Y on the March 4th and 5th. Lab City swimmers will be attending as well, and we wish them all the best for a great time trial and lots of personal bests. I'd also like to wish the best of luck to Snowflake Figure Skating Club is at their upcoming provincial tournament. And finally, to wish the Extreme Hockey, AAA and All-Star teams as they travel over the next coming weeks to play in their respective provincial tournaments on the island. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, as you can hear around, I mean, we do live in a pretty a pretty amazing place. I've got a few things. The Winter Games. I know Councillor Winters is dreaming Winter Games now. He's been invested considerably in it. It's going to be great. It's going to be. We're going to have a week of Kane's Quest, and we're going to go into the Winter Games. Flurry is going to be in town, and then the activity that goes around, the Easter hockey and all that kinds of stuff. Now, as long as the good Lord gives us the weather that we had today and yesterday, that'll be wonderful. I agree with you, Councillor Hobbs. I don't want to. I wouldn't want to be in Kane's Quest at all. I'll come in and watch them either from the computer or go up to the hotel to watch them. But no, so it's going to be great. It's great for economic development. It's great for restaurants. Great for hotels. Great for everything going on. So it's a good couple of weeks coming up for sure. Just to touch base on the Ukrainian families that we had here, it was a small ceremony just to celebrate, I guess, in a way, the war, the escalating war in the Ukraine between Russia and the Ukraine. But it's to celebrate that we have two amazing families here in our town, and to hear the three kids just speak English a lot better than my Ukrainian. I tried a couple of words, but we had a great time. And just to hear the young guy and the two young ladies, these young kids say thank you to our community, to our country, was amazing. So yeah, we'll continue to put that big heart out for sure as a community. We also have an exciting project on the go, and it's a rapid housing project that will see potentially 16 new homes created, affordable homes created in our community. The work is underway with that, and we're partnering with community partners to make it happen. So we're excited about that. Northern Lights, yeah, Councillor Hobbs. Normally, I look back to see what was done in the past in terms of updating the town and council members about what went on. I didn't really see anything too much, so I did say that usually what happens is the councillors that attend will give an update, and I'll do the same because we did have some. It was exciting. It was really upbeat, and hats off to Julianne and her group from the Labrador North Chamber, but also in partnership with the Iqaluit Chambers of Commerce. It was a fantastic week. It was great. We had, I did attend, I was asked to attend a session with Minister Blair concerning search and rescue. I guess from past work, a little bit of experience in that regard. The Rumboldts, with the loss of their son and his friend and their fishing vessel. But there's an implication there that one of the requests is that they make Five Wing a primary SAR resource, which we know now is not. It's a secondary SAR resource. So, anything that we can play in part to advocate for that, I think we should be doing it very strongly and very loudly. We met with groups from Inuit Air. We met with Inuit Air, we met NG Construction to have some conversation, and they're supposed to get back to us about developing the town centre. We also met with Minister Hutchings and her EA to discuss our applications for transit. All, I guess, like in an unofficial setting, but you get more work done sometimes through those, casual encounters and just, coffee, 5 minutes of coffee than you would sitting in a formal kind of session. We attended some sessions that were very interesting around northern development and housing, where Nunavut has a plan, Nunavut has a plan to build 3,000 units. So that was exciting. Some discussion there. For us, it was good. We also had an interesting conversation with a food security company who has we've had some chat with about the opportunity of actually coming to town and operating their process of growing food. So that was positive. We also met with a lady who's a planner whose her specialty is she's formerly the director of engineering and planning from Iqaluit, but she specializes in planning and development in rural and northern locations. So you don't get that lens from, like you say, a Halifax or a Toronto kind of deal. So from that, we also had the opportunity to tour a shelter that has a managed alcohol program, and that was interesting as well. So there was a whole lot of different things. Anything concrete that would come from that. There's nothing there tangible, with the exception of hopefully the federal government and the bus transit side of stuff. That would be good. And we did sign the book of condolences at the Turkish embassy, but the ambassador's residence. The networking side of stuff is incredible, and I encourage. We can sit here and live in a bubble, and or we can get out and see what's happening and bring things to our community. So that's where we are. So to again, the audits, we've just about to finish our 2019 audit. That'll be brought to council very shortly. So we're making tremendous progress in that regard. And I think that is it on my list. Yeah, one other thing that Councillor Pomeroy kind of noted, and I've been having some discussions with the MHA. But yeah, last time we were, I won't say completely forgot, but we were, there wasn't a lot of support from a community perspective in Muskrat Falls sort of deal. I remember when I was on council before, we went to a meeting. We were kind of asked to bring our wish list, so we thought, okay, here goes. We got to the meeting, we were basically laughed out of the room. So we got absolutely nothing. And I remember a vice president of a particular company telling us that his project will have no impact on our community. And I met him, actually was at Northern Lights a year or so later, a couple of years into it. And I said, have you been to Happy Valley Goose Bay lately? And he said, well, yes, I go through all the time. So I said, do you think your project has an impact on our community? I think we need to be in the forefront of having some discussions of looking for a municipality's benefit agreement from any kind of project in terms of Gull Island. It's going to be, even more of what we have now. And we haven't received a lot of support sort of deal from the current project. Yes, we got a lot of jobs, but with that also comes a lot of issues, and that's what left with the community to deal with in terms of our healthcare, our policing, and that kinds of stuff. So I think we need to be a little bit more adamant in terms of going forward, because there's no plans, and we kept being told the same thing last time. There was no plans. Projects not sanctioned was the magic word. Well, listen, when people are talking, there's plans. So if we can't get in early and have a discussion that, listen, someone has to recognize what happened, and we don't want it to happen again. So we need to be pretty adamant of that. In terms of public safety, we haven't had a acute response team meeting for months now. There's been some requests sent by certain individuals to ask what's happening, but we haven't heard anything. So, maybe it might be time to have some discussions with some of our provincial colleagues and our counterparts, because it is, like I say, a shared problem, and we can't solve this by ourselves. Obviously, we've been doing it. We've been wandering around for years now trying to mitigate it, and it's only getting worse and worse and worse, and it is going to get worse and worse. So maybe it's time for us to hop on that flight and get across the table again. But for either of the two projects. With that, ending from staff. Yes. Wow, she has something to. Go ahead. Oh yes, I'm sorry. So in a privileged meeting prior to our meeting, that's why we're late coming out. Council met and read our disclosure statements, which is a requirement under the Municipalities Act, I guess, or the new Code of Conduct Act, where it indicates all our incomes, properties, businesses, that kind of stuff, and it's read out loud, so councillors around the table know, and including the CAO, know what everybody's interests are in the community. So when we discuss issues that potential conflicts and things like that could come up, everybody's aware of where everybody sits. So that was done in a privileged meeting previous to council. Anything from you, sir?
All good, Mayor, thanks.
All good? Okay. All right. Well, with that, I will. Anybody else before I close? I'll accept the motion to adjourn. Motion made by Councillor Hobbs, and I think I'm supposed to get a seconder, but I'm still not sure on that, but I'll get a seconder. Sure. Deputy Mayor Wallace. Mission adjourned.